They obviously have needed to be better defensively, and now they got to continue it. Right? It's 2 games, and I don't want to get too excited because it is against Seattle and the New York Islanders, 2 teams that aren't offensive juggernauts, but you got to start somewhere. So good news for the Oilers. They've scored 4 goals in back-to-back games, so that's nice. They're up to now 24th in goals per game. The Kraken are 29th and the Islanders are 30th. So they play the Kraken again tomorrow. If you're looking at teams they should, I put that in parentheses because they all know what happened. San Jose. That doesn't mean anything. So we'll see where it goes, but it is good time. The Oilers, of course, have Seattle. Then they're on the road, tough road trip. They're in Tampa Bay on Saturday. Next Monday, they're in Florida. Then they're in Carolina. And then next Friday, the 24th, it's the rare 11 a.m. Edmonton start time because that is Black Friday in the U.S. So the Friday after Thanksgiving, everybody's excited. And hey, speaking of next Thursday, Sports 1440 live on location. Carrie's show and my show will be live at the Ice House downtown. Big all-day Thursday football fest. Of course, we'll be setting up the Oilers in Washington. They'll have already played 3 road games, so we'll have some fun there. That is next Thursday at the Ice House. I think Patty's planning. We're going to have a little breakfast special for all of you who downtown. You want to come over for breakfast? Can do that. Oilers last night, pretty solid, convincing victory over the Islanders. Now, the start was not great. We all know Matt Barzal scores less than a minute into the game, and how many people were like, oh, here we go again. I can understand if you felt that way because you've seen it a few times. But you know what? The Oilers, after they cracked down. Stuart Skinner made saves when he was called upon. The Oilers didn't give up a ton. And rather than force things, because the second period, for whatever reason this year, they're awful. Like their second period is brutal. It's the worst period by far. But the Oilers did get 3 goals in the third period. Their power play, we've talked about this for a while. Like their power play hasn't been awful. It was 23.9%. But timely goals, and last night they had 2 timely goals in the third period. Huge. It's a 1-1 game. Hyman scores 9 seconds into the power play, and then you have McDavid scoring finally, ends his 9-game score streak. Hey, good news. Connor McDavid jumped up from 130th to 90th in NHL scoring, which asks the question today, how long do you think before Connor McDavid is top 10 in league scoring? And where do you think he finishes? Does he lead the league in scoring? Is he second? Is he third? What do you think? Let me know. You can text us in our Jiffy Lube inbox, 833-401-1440. Be wise, winterize, book your oil change today at Jiffy Lube. It's jiffylubeservice.ca. We have lots of text flying in already. We'll get to some of those. Other news and notes. Hey, Buffalo Bills fans, how you feeling? Oh. Now, they fired their offensive coordinator today, Connor. But when you look at the turnovers yesterday, is that all bad? Now, their offense has been bad for 5 weeks, though, so let's say that. But, like, Josh Allen, now the first interception is not his fault. It's right through the hands of the receiver. But I don't think that's the offensive coordinator's fault either. Sometimes coaches get fired when it's not deserving. Right, Order fans? I think you've seen it. So, what do you make of the change in Buffalo? They got to do something. The Bills have been floundering.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, I mean, Gabe Davis, feel free to catch the ball. Yeah, I mean, you can't blame that on your quarterback. You can't blame that on your offensive coordinator. I guess that's the easiest move to maybe spark them because you can slide someone in. Joe Brady's going to take over. He was the OC with the Carolina Panthers a couple of years ago. You can go back and look at their statistics. It wasn't mind-blowing, but they didn't have the top-end talent, I suppose, either. Did have Christian McCaffrey. But yeah, I mean, the last 4 games, they've won 1. It was against the Buccaneers. They now lose to the Broncos, the Bengals, and the Patriots in that time span. I mean, how do you lose to the Patriots? Nobody loses to the Patriots. It just hasn't been good enough. So you think that might be a spark? I mean, even with the struggles, Gregor, and the turnovers that they had, if they can count, they win that football game. Yeah. They were still in it. They just got to stop, shooting themselves in the foot. It's errors going their own way. So maybe this is a way to try to make everyone a little more attentive in video or film and have everybody ready to go when they get out there. But that was still a very winnable game. So I would be a little concerned for the Buffalo Bills, mostly because of their schedule. They've got the Jets, which they should win, with the Eagles, Chiefs, Cowboys, Dolphins. I'll throw the Chargers in there simply because they do play the Chargers. But, it's not going to be an easy stretch for them. So they really need to get their stuff in gear and ready to go, because any more losses and they could find themselves on the outside looking in. The AFC is just so competitive right now.
Well, they're already on the outside looking in,
exactly.
right?
That's true.
Houston and Cincy are 5-4, and they have they're tied for 7th, the final playoff spot. Then there's the Colts and the Bills and the Raiders at 5-5. So yeah, they've fallen that far. Now, sure, they're not even only 2, because Miami's only played 9 games. So the Bills have played 10 games. So you know what? I assume they got the bye then coming up here. I think they have the bye next week or the week after. I can't remember when it is, but either one, they got 7 games left, and some of the other teams, lots of the other teams are chasing have 8. So it's not a good situation right now for the Buffalo Bills. So I get why they made a move. We'll see if it's the right one. Josh Allen's just way too many turnovers. They're not all his fault, but he's part of it, so he's got to be better for the Bills. Also, Jim, he had texted us yesterday, Cons, in our playalberta.ca pick'em, and we agreed with, we went with Jim's pick of the Bills. Screwed us over, Jim. Cost the kids some money. It's all for charity. Well, of course, I'm kidding and having fun, but had the Oilers winning, we had the Avs winning, and we had the Bills winning. But lo and behold, it did not happen last night. So a little unfortunate. What can you say? That's how it goes. So coming up on the program today, we got a loaded show for you today. There's lots and lots to discuss. Jeff Merrick will join us, host of the Jeff Merrick Show. Like me, he put a lot of thought into naming his show. I like it. I like it a lot. Shan Brown was back after a trip to Arizona. We'll talk to Brownie. What's his thoughts? It was interesting watching Paul Coffey last night. He was very vocal with his players on the bench, right? Like I noticed 3 or 4 different times he's talking to Vincent Desharnais, he's talking to Bouchard, he's talking to Ceci and Ekholm. And Ekholm talked about it today. There's a feeling out process for both. Some players, like Ekholm, said he loves getting that feedback right away. He likes it. Some guys don't. Some guys think, no, tell me after. Right? Everybody's different. So you got to find out what works. We'll talk to Brownie about that. Dave McCarthy, as always, is by every Tuesday. Struddy as well. He's having a lot of fun right now, old Struddy. Lots of fun on Twitter in regards to my lost bet. So I'm sure he'll be laughing about that. Spec and DVD, of course. Help your neighbor. We're down to 4 days left. If you know somebody, make sure you're paying attention. Coming up in the 4 o'clock hour, right in the first segment of 4 o'clock, where you can qualify for a chance to win a high-efficiency furnace from Legacy Heating for somebody in your circle, and some great prizes for yourself. But the big one, of course, is you're going to gift the gift of heat to someone. So, see. Bad news for the Edmonton Oilers. I'm sure you were watching the game last night in the second period, and you can watch this if you want right now on our YouTube channel on Oilers Nation, because we have a video of Dylan Holloway. And very unfortunate injury is Holloway skating, and he literally just lost an edge, crashed hard into the sideboards, knees first, and he's got a knee injury, and I'm told probably months for Dylan Holloway. That's awful. Like, any injury is terrible, but when you just lose an edge and crash into the boards, and that's what leads you to being out for a while, that's real unfortunate. So that's the latest on Dylan Holloway. Connor Brown was skating today. He was on the fourth line with Lavoie and James Hamlin. No word yet. If Brown said he feels close, but obviously they're waiting for the doctor. It's nothing about his knee. He went into it. He said, hey, this has nothing to do with his knee. It's maybe some compensation, right? Tweaked his groin a little bit. But he says he feels good now. It's just a matter of, do you wait until Saturday? That's 3 extra days. So that's basically, I think, what it comes down to Brown. He obviously feels he's ready. He was involved in they had some battle drills at the end of practice today, like a 1-on-1 / 1-on-2, depending which way you were going cross ice, just in the offensive zone. And he partook in all that. He skated a lap after, a punishment lap, because the light blue team lost. So that's the injury update for the Oilers, but just terrible news for Holloway, man. I thought Dylan Holloway's game was coming. I thought the last 2 weeks he'd played quite well. Scored a goal, of course, his first of the season in the victory in Seattle. And was getting good on the forecheck. I thought was using his speed more, was a little bit more confident. And now, unfortunately, he is going to be out for a while for the Edmonton Oilers. Should point out, I don't know for certain if they're going to put him on LTIR right away. You can do it at any point. But if you put him on LTIR, right now the Oilers are accruing cap space every day. Granted, not a lot, but they are accruing cap space every day. And if you put him on LTIR, now, they might do it to call up a forward if Brown's not ready. You could do it, call up a forward for the game. All right, so that you might have to do it. But if Brown is ready to go, they could just stick with the 20 skaters and not put him on LTIR and still keep accruing cap space for a few days. All right, those are the options. Matthias Janmark not skating yet with the main group. He was skating on his own last week, is still skating, but obviously he's away. He's still, he's not playing tomorrow. I don't know if he's going to play on. He'd have to practice with the main group, I would think, at least twice before we see him in the lineup. So those are your updates for the Edmonton Oilers. Gregor, good question. I still think McDavid's going to win first. He just gave everybody a head start. Well, he did win going away last year, right? And he was, 23 points ahead of Draisaitl? And then 30-some ahead of everybody else. So, yeah, I wouldn't be stunned, but it's still, you know what? You've spotted some guys, some points. And, we'll see. He's got 12 points. It's kind of only halfway there to Elias Pettersson. So we'll see where it goes for McDavid. But, hey, what about the game by Draisaitl last night? 4-point game. He now has 24 4-point games in his career. The only active players with more are McDavid, Crosby, Malkin, and Nathan McKinnon. And Crosby and Malkin have played significantly more games than Leon Draisaitl. So, and Connor McDavid. So, I think there's a really good chance that those two are going to end up ahead of him in that regard. So we'll see. I'm just trying to find because I know I have it saved somewhere for Draisaitl back in I think it was in October. Obviously after the Nashville game where he had 4 points, and I'll look it up. I'll find where I have it saved. But either way, it's his 24th. And I think McDavid is at 28 or 9, and he's second on the list. So it's not bad for the Oilers. Gregor, did I hear you correctly? Holloway's out months from Frank. Yes, Frank. Unfortunately, it's what it looks like. It's just an unlucky break, man. Guys, Holloway hasn't done a whole bunch. However, he was playing better. Always seems to get bit by the injury bug. It's true. And it's like you watched last night. There's nothing that training or anything else is going to come. Because to me, and I don't want to, I don't know. I looked, I've been told it's a knee injury. When you watch how he went in and where he was grabbing, to me, it's like now is it a displaced kneecap? Right? I don't know. But he went in hard. And you're going that fast and you just crash into the boards like that. I know you have a knee pad on, but it's still going to do some damage. So that is, it's unfortunate. The Oilers, though, the good news, 2 games in a row, the Edmonton Oilers. How many risky plays did they make last night? How many can you think where you're just like, what are you doing? Now, mistakes, don't confuse mistakes to high-risk play. I don't recall a lot of you look at the first goal they scored. Ekholm puts it around the boards. You probably want Nugent Hopkins to be a little bit stronger on the boards. It's not a terrible, egregious giveaway or anything like that. It's just a lost battle there, right? And they get it in front. The coach talked about it afterwards. Hey, we didn't want guys open in the slot. They had to, the first minute of the game, they had 2 good chances from the slot. But to Edmonton's credit, the players settled down. They didn't wilt. And then Draisaitl had a great shot. I like Barzal's shot. I saw some people trying to say, well, Skinner's got to stop that. No, I'm sorry. That's not a save that I'm remotely putting on the goalie. Just like I look at Draisaitl. That's a perfect shot by Sorokin. Right? I didn't think he had much chance on Hyman's goal. McDavid, that might be the one where you'd look and say, geez, basically went right through him. Right? If that was a goal against an Edmonton goalie, people would be saying, hey, that went right through him. Even happens to a guy like Sorokin. I guess maybe they got to fire their goalie coach. Hey, Cons. Yeah. I'm just going to say one thing, and then I'm not going to move on from it. But I understand, fans, I love the passion. But don't confuse passion for a right for stupidity. Okay? I've seen it online. It's been people were texting the show yesterday. Don't make it personal, right? Then you look like a fool. Make no mistake. Being a fan doesn't give you the right to spread falsehoods. Full stop. It doesn't. You want to say, hey, I wish they changed the coach? Fine, you're entitled to that. That's an opinion. Even if you want to, well, I wouldn't recommend it, but people keep retweeting false things. Oh, no, every goalie left Edmonton is better. It's actually not true at all. Koskinen was never better before Edmonton because he wasn't an NHL goalie. And it wasn't better afterwards. Mike Smith retired and had two of his best years late in Edmonton. Stuart Skinner. People have talked about they need to develop a goalie. So they develop a goalie. He has a really good year. He's named to the All-Star team. He is a Calder finalist, and he has 6 bad games. Well, the goalie coach has never developed anyone. What? But either way, that's fine. Have your opinion on it. That's great. Don't spread falsehoods and look like an idiot and then double down on it. Okay? He's not married to Kate's niece. Stop it. Okay? He's got a wife and kids who reside in Edmonton. Okay? Take a moment and be like, is this something I should be spreading? Like, think about it. You're retweeting no-name trolls on the internet. Right? That's your decision-making. No one else does it. You choose to do it. Don't do that. Okay? That's when you look like an idiot fan. I'm sorry. There's no other way to put it. Don't spread falsehoods. You want to be frustrated about a coach being fired? Go right ahead. Don't spread falsehood. That doesn't allow you to spread a falsehood. Well, I didn't know. Take a second and be like, why am I just hearing about this now? Because it's not true. All right? Don't make it personal. Okay? Don't make it personal. We'll come back. Jeff Merrick will join us. Are changes coming? Over and back in the NHL? We'll find out next on the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
It's a triumphant return to the airwaves. Hi, I'm Colin from Cantork, and this is a great call. Cantork proudly continues our partnership with Jason Gregor, eagerly rejoining his team on Sports 1440.
There's 2 seasons in Alberta, winter and construction. During these days of traffic barricades and slower commutes, GS Construction reminds you those crews are improving our communities. They're rehabilitating and upgrading Edmonton's infrastructure all across the city. When you see the barricades and run into a traffic backup, remember, the crews are there to help. Be patient, help make our city better, and join the GS Construction team. See what they're hiring for on Indeed.com. GS Construction, running around it for your community since 1974.
At The Brick, we're not just proud of this city and its rich sports history. We're proud partners of it.
We always had a ball. We're beating all the blue people. We fight them every way so far.
2:24 on a Tuesday afternoon. How are you? Welcome back to the Gregor Show, coming to you live from the EWEL studio, EWEL.ca, for all your electrical needs. They will. They add a little spark to the show every day. That's EWEL.ca. Time now to get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by Silent Ice, and they've expanded. They now have the Junior Prospects Hockey League, an academy-style approach for U14, U15, and U18 players with a focus on skill development and education. Learn more at juniorprospectshockeyleague.com. And we are joined by the host of the Jeff Merrick Show, also, of course, co-host of 32 Thoughts. You see him all over the place. Jeff Merrick joins us. Jeff, welcome to the show, my man. How you doing?
Pleasure is all mine. Was that Deep Purple bringing me in?
It was, yeah.
So one of my fondest memories of seeing Deep Purple in 1986 at Maple Leaf Gardens. Was a huge Jason Rishi Blackmore fan. And that was one of the best, and should I mention, loudest concerts I think I've ever been to. I think it was only rivaled by the loudest arena that I was ever in, which was Edmonton during the 2006 Cup run. I went to games against San Jose and Anaheim, and was easily the loudest building I've ever been to.
Yeah, it was crazy. And I still remember the game 6 in the Cup final against Carolina when they won 4-0. And before the game even started, it was bananas for like an hour, because that's when Pisani had scored shorthanded to bring it home again, and the fans are going bananas. It was, and that old rink, man, just the acoustics, they're just different.
It sounded great.
Yeah.
Well, the only one, and I was at Cops Coliseum for Gretzky to Lemieux, and that was loud, as you can imagine. I've always wondered what it must have felt like, though. 1987, Game 6, Stanley Cup Final, Philadelphia Flyers, Edmonton Oilers, when J.J. Daigneault scores that goal to send it to a Game 7. Because even just watching it on television and watching the highlights now, it sounds deafening. It sounds like one of the loudest buildings I've ever heard.
Wow. What about, remember Chicago Stadium? Like, I used to watch the national anthem, and you'd be like, oh my God, this is unreal.
All those old tiny ones, like the Odd and Buffaloes, like that, the Boston. I mean, I went to tons of games there. The old Boston Garden, those small barns where the seating, we're going down a trail here, where the seating wasn't laid back, but it was more straight up like a sumo palace.
Yeah.
So all the noise just like bounced off these walls that were really close and packed together. Oh man, those buildings were A, gorgeous, B, a dump at the same time. They were beautifully ugly and loud, loud.
Yeah, everybody was, you were just right on the game. It was like, I still remember the first time I went to Maple Leaf Gardens, and the seats behind the net were basically right above the glass, like right above the glass with no mesh. And I'm like, how do people not get killed here? It's unreal.
I've always thought that. The worst that I saw was at a Peterborough Pete's Guelph Storm game. This would have been when I was going to University at Guelph, like 92. And I saw this person take one right between the lookers. And I don't know what happened to her. Obviously, she was let off right away, but it's one of the scariest things I ever saw. And I can't believe that it took until, the Brittany Cecil tragedy that we finally realized, you know what, these shots are coming in pretty fast, and a lot of them are getting deflected, and the glass isn't keeping them in. Maybe we should do something about this.
Yeah. Now, speaking of changes, Jeff, some rumblings that we might see an over and back. I would much rather see over and back put in than a shot clock in 3-on-3. I'm not a fan of a shot clock, because then the defense will just sit back and force you to have to take a shot from nowhere. But the over and back, where once you cross center, you can't come back in with possession. I love that idea.
It's funny too, because I was on a panel. I was at the Primetime Sports Conference, and I was on a panel with Dan McKenzie, the president of the CHL. Mike Morielli was there as well. Boy, that basketball league is doing great. Scott Housen, Glenn Johnson from Canadian Premier League Soccer, and Scott Housen, the president of the American Hockey League. And this is a throwaway question at the end. Like, we're about to wrap up. I'm getting the get off the stage now. From Brian Burke, saying, all right, Merrick, you've had enough time. Let's wrap it up. And I just just a throwaway question, Jason. One of those, like, if you could change one rule in your league, what would it be? And it got to Housen, and Housen thought about it. He said, you know what? The 3-on-3 needs to change. It's just turned into a neutral zone regroup after neutral zone regroup. He said, the Brian Burke shot clock is one thing, and Brian's brought that up, by the way, in managers' meetings before. It's gone nowhere, but he has brought it up. And he said, I like the idea of if you're in the offensive zone and you deliberately send it back to the neutral zone for a regroup, it's a change of possession at the spot where you make the pass, or at the blue line when you exit the zone. Okay. Whichever rule we decide to go down here, whichever rule the league decides to go down here, it does really sort of wink at, the one reality that I've been talking about now for years, which is, and say it with me here, Jason, coaches have ruined overtime. My idea, if we're over, you want to get rid of all these regroups and all that, at the beginning of overtime, send all the coaches to the room and just let the guys, remember those first few years of overtime?
Oh, yeah.
Where it was just up and down. It was sprints. It was bad angle shots that led to 2-on-1s one way and 2-on-1s the other way. The first year, there was that great Ottawa-Detroit overtime. Like, bring us some of that back. That was the most exciting overtime that we've ever seen. And we said to ourselves, the great thing about this is coaches don't have their hooks in it yet. Like, they haven't figured out how to coach the overtime. They will eventually, but they haven't yet. And it wasn't until coaches started to get their hooks in and no low percentage shots and got to be safe. And it's all about possession and setting up for the perfect shot when you win the draw. Again, coaches ruin everything. They take all the fun out of hockey. You want to solve the overtime, get rid of the coaches. What do you think of that?
Oh, dude. Well, we don't want it to never happen, but this is one way that it kind of limits what the coaches can do, right? You're neutering them a little bit. I like it a lot. I see no reason why you wouldn't do it. And then the other caveat I have, Jeff, what do you think the appetite is to expand it even to 7 minutes and limit shootouts?
I like it. I know the Players Association will look at it and say, like, how much extra hockey do you want us to play here? Like, that is one concern, because now we're making a major rule change, and that would have to go to the competition committee. Like, the players would weigh in on this one. I think a lot of what the PA does here is kind of say, like, hold on a second here. We're asking them to play 60 minutes. Then we're asking them to play an extra 5, and then we're asking them for a shootout. And now you want even more time for the 3-on-3. At a certain point, I think the Players Association is just going to say, okay, that's enough. That's our line in the sand. We need to get these games over with. But that's the PA. If it's up to me, endless overtime 3-on-3, I'm all for it. So if you want to do 7, Jason, I'm good. You want to do 10, I'm good with that. I can just see the players majorly pushing back on this one. Yeah, no, that's totally fair. A few other things to look at, Jeff. Give me your thoughts from afar on the Oilers' moves here in the last 72 hours. I always thought, and still do, that the Oilers' biggest problem is composition, not coaching. I think that Jay Woodcroft will be unemployed as long as Jay Woodcroft wants to be. And I think there's a lot of coaches that are nervous out there now that Jay Woodcroft, that shark, is in the waters and is available for hire. I'll tell you what, I don't know about you, but I'm watching the Islanders last night, and we saw that game on Saturday where everyone's chanting for Lane Lambert to get fired, and Casey Cizikas lips off about telling the fans not to come. You can understand how well that went over at the owner's level or the marketing level of the New York Islanders at that point. Like, to be the communications director stick handling that one. But I couldn't help thinking to myself here, if you're the Islanders and you are thinking about a coaching change, are you not looking at someone like Jay Woodcroft right out of the hop? But I wasn't necessarily a fan of that. I like what Woodcroft had done with the team. I think, Jason, like, you're there, you're closer to it than I am. I just can't believe that he didn't have a longer runway, like one complete season, and that was it. Like, I know the start was the start, and don't want to squander prime of Draisaitl and prime of Connor McDavid. I'm still stunned at what we saw. Like, and I like Chris Knoblauch as a coach too. But this was very much, and this was very much a Jeff Jackson move. Like, I remember my first conversation with Jeff Jackson about Chris Knoblauch was at the Memorial Cup in Windsor, and Knoblauch was coaching the Erie Otters, and they got upset by Rocky Thompson's Windsor Spitfires. But Jeff Jackson has been talking about Knoblauch being an NHL ready coach for a long time now, and this was his moment to pull the trigger on it. So, as much as I wasn't a fan of Woodcroft losing his job, and I still don't believe that he did. I still can't believe that he got such a little runway here. I think the San Jose game, and maybe even before that too. And they had already had their, in case of emergency, break glass moments. And I think at that point it was all over for Woodcroft and Manson.
Yeah, no, and that's fair. I think it's obviously it was a Jeff Jackson move, no question. And that happens in pro sports. New guy comes in and, when things aren't going well, because I don't think anybody at the start of the season thought that Jay Woodcroft was remotely on any sort of hot seat. But nobody thought the Oilers would start 2-9-1 either. So that's, pro sports can be vicious sometimes. There's no question about that. It can be vicious. You mentioned the Islanders, Lane Lambert, they were chanting his name. They've been chanting DJ Smith. It's the new thing right now. They're looking for chanting the names a little bit. But on a positive note, for a team that's not playing bad, Connor Bedard currently leads the NHL in 5-on-5 goals with 8. He has 9 goals total in 13 games. He's on pace to score 50. Yep. You think as a rookie, he scores 50, Jeff?
See, the start is the start, and it's awesome. I wonder what happens during the dog days, right? Like, let's get into late January. Let's get into February when the team's been out of the playoff picture for a long time. And you know how long 82 games feels for anybody, let alone a team that's out of the playoff picture. That would be my only concern here about Bedard. Like, look, like every night he's doing something that just leaves you shaking your head. Like, I'm still shaking my head over the goal against the Panthers. I don't know how he scored from that position on the ice. I have no clue how he got that puck to where he got it. The kid's phenomenal. The kid's spectacular. Look, you watched him play in the Western Hockey League. How many times did you say, wow, this game is easy, but let's see what happens at the pro level? Do you not get the sense now that he's getting that feeling like it's starting to get easier already for Connor Bedard? Like, I remember watching Nathan McKinnon with Colorado, and I think it was like game 29 or game 30 where it sort of all came together for McKinnon. And you're like, okay, now he's comfortable. And now we're going to see, Halifax McKinnon. And I think we're starting to see now the Regina Pats Connor Bedard, where it's like, okay, I know how the game is played up here now. Now I can start to have fun with it. Can he score 50? Sure he can. I just wonder about fatigue for a kid like that on a team that has, that's not going to be anywhere close to the playoffs. What happens, not just to Bedard, but the entire team come January, February, because that will have an effect on them.
Oh yeah, no debate on that. Jeff Merrick joins us. Jeff, are you a believer in the Ducks?
I think that, I want to be. And by the way, that Radko Gudas goal on Sunday. So here, Jason, here's how I see it. Like, there's 2 teams in Anaheim. There's the Anaheim Ducks and there's the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim, right? Like, the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim are, is the movie and Michael Eisner and the Flying V and all that stuff. And then the Anaheim Ducks is that team, with Pronger and Niedermeyer and Getzlaff and 2007 and Jaguar and winning the Stanley Cup and being mean and skilled and like a really good team. But then there's the Anaheim, the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim. And here's my question to everybody, because for me the answer is yes. Was that not the mightiest Ducks goal ever scored? Oh. Like, if you're making a movie about what actually happens on the ice, and they're wearing the throwback too. Like, it was a Mighty Ducks of Anaheim goal altogether. Am I a believer? No, I'm not right now. But long term, am I a believer in the Anaheim Ducks? Absolutely. Like, you see with this team, you're a draft guy. Like, you know how well they drafted. You know the that development model in San Diego. I mean, San Diego's a mini NHL. They packed that barn. Great fans in San Diego. Whether it was Dallas Eakins and Marty Wilford, developing all those defensemen for Anaheim for all those years. They got a really good thing going between the AHL and the National Hockey League. And it seems like doesn't it seem like every time you watch Anaheim, there's another all-star, 21-year-old defenseman on the roster, and we haven't even seen the best one yet, Nolan Zellweger. Like Minchikov's been great.
Really?
And now we're waiting for Olin Zellweger eventually.
Yeah.
So like at every single level, Lucas Dostal is Rookie of the Month in October, and like at every single position, Jason, they have like the potential for superstars here. Like, am I a believer now? No. Is it fun? Yes. Am I a believer long term? Yes. And the only question is, how quickly can they get to that rarefied air where they're consistent Stanley Cup performance?
And one last one for you, Jeff, before I let you go quickly. The Florida
Yes, sir.
Panthers, lots of people thought they would be in the muck because of the, two defensemen are out. Then Bennett gets hurt in the second game of the season. But, man, they have come out, and now Ekblad's getting close. Montour's getting close. Bennett's getting close. They went all the way to the Stanley Cup final last year. What do you make of the Panthers and their chance to maybe win that division?
How many Vancouver Canucks fans do you think are listening to your show right now?
Not a lot, maybe a few. Not a lot.
Okay. So I'll whisper as to not offend them. Is Oliver Ekman-Larsson actually good?
He has been really good for Florida.
Like, if you're a Vancouver fan and you're not watching this, and like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Like, I get that it's a little bit. This has been true for a lot of years. It's a little bit easier to play defense in the Eastern Conference than it is in the Western Conference. Like, there was like a long stretch there where defensemen went from east to west, and man, they struggled for it took a while for them to really figure out how to play in the Western Conference. I do get that it's a little bit easier as a defender in the Eastern Conference, but they're getting some key performances, certainly from the goaltending. I think Gustav Forsling has been really good as well. The aforementioned Oliver Ekman-Larsson. I think very quietly, Alexander Barkov is turning in an outstanding season here. Again, it's quiet because it's Florida, and Matthew Tkachuk's a star there. I got to give it to him. Like, we always talk about early candidates for Coach of the Year, and Rick Tocchet's going to be there, obviously.
Yep.
But Paul Maurice has done a great job here with the Panthers one more time. Can they win? I mean, it depends on how you feel about the Boston Bruins. I mean, they may have the best net-minding tandem in the league. They may have the best blue line, with all due respect, Vegas, in the NHL as well. I think they have the potential to do it, and they're getting the big reinforcements. And the thing about Bill Zito is, too, with whatever it takes, the Florida Panthers, as we're told, they will do whatever it takes to try to bring in Pat Kane.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes, they'll try to get Pat Kane in Florida. It's going to be a tough sell job. We know what their cap situation is, but they will move heaven, earth, the beaches, and the mountains to try to get Patrick Kane in the mix.
That's interesting. Like, to me, the team that should be trying the hardest is Carolina. If they get Patrick Kane, I think that's the missing piece for them. They've always missed that one dynamic guy.
Yeah.
And,
See, I think Dallas, because I look at Dallas's right side, and outside of Joe Pavelski, is there anyone that really grabs you into deep water and says, hey, let's tread water out here for a while?
Yeah, no,
like, I look
that's
at Dallas and say, like, that right side could use a Patrick Kane.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's a lot that could. No question about that.
Sure.
Jeff, we really appreciate the conversation, man. Thanks so much. We'll do it again soon.
Thanks, pal. Let's do it again, Jason. You be good, pal.
You betcha. That is Jeff Merrick, of course, host of the Jeff Merrick Show. Him and Friedman, of course, do fantastic on 32 Thoughts and more. 2:43. When we return, hey, some change is good, and then sometimes I'm like, I'm not sure I understand it. So we'll talk about a change that's ongoing. Is it good or bad? We'll find out next on the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, live on Oilers Nation YouTube and Sports 1440.
At the Brick, we're not just proud of
Welcome back. Tuesday edition of the Gregor Show. How are you? Presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Alberta's only regulated online gambling website. Stay within your limits. Use your game sense. Go to gamesense.ab.ca. Let's get now to the NBA report brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home to no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. Don't wait. You know it's on the last legs. Get it done now. No payments. Legacy Heating. The NBA, it's interesting. They got some changes. They got the play-in tournament, but we'll try to explain that. Also, some interesting numbers early on. Something we haven't seen in the NBA since 1993. We'll get to all of that with Paul Sir, former pro coach and player, great basketball analyst, joins us once again. And Paul, can you do you like this tournament that's on? Because it's only a few days a week that the games count. Like, can you explain it in simple terms?
No. I was waiting. I was hoping you're going to bring on somebody from MIT or Harvard. It's an attempt by the NBA to add some excitement, a one and done element to a tournament, but locations, timing, it's been really hard to follow because it looks like a couple of teams are squaring off in this tournament, then all of a sudden they're back to the regular season schedule. So honestly, Jason, for our great listeners out there, I can't really explain it other than it's a thing going on right now. And I think as it works itself out, we'll get more attention to it, because even the attention being paid to it in the media right now is sporadic and sparse.
Yeah.
People aren't really focusing on it.
Yeah. So basically it's an in-season tournament that began on November 3rd. The championship will be on December 9th. The semifinals go on the 7th. There's group play, and then there's the knockout round, right? All the teams are randomly drawn into groups of 5, right? Based on some one-loss records last season. Then you get to 8 teams will advance to the knockout rounds, yada, yada, yada. That's how it goes. So it is difficult. I can at least tell you the groups for anybody out there who cares. West Group A is Memphis, Phoenix, the Lakers, the Jazz, and the Trailblazers. Group B is the Nuggets, Clippers, Pelicans, Mavs, and the Rockets. And Group C is the Kings, the Golden State Warriors, the Timberwolves, the Thunder, and the Spurs. Well, clearly Group C is the easiest group, right, in the West. I don't think there's any debate on that. In the East, 76ers, Cavaliers, Hawks, Pacers, and Pistons are Group A. Bucks, Knicks, Heat, Wizards, Hornets, B. And then C is the Celtics, the Nets, the Raptors, the Bulls, and the Magic. So, group play will take place every Tuesday to Friday. So starting tonight, except on last week because of the election, right? And then there's group stages. I'm trying to read, like, there's league honors. You get a tournament. There's a most valuable player in the competition. I don't know. I like trying new things, but this one I'm not really sure if it's going to benefit anything. So it's just kind of odd. But I do want to get to some numbers early on. Paul, 3-pointers in the NBA right now. Some teams that are chucking it.
Oh my gosh. Everybody, this whole trend towards the 3, Jason, teams are trying to get out there and to chuck 3s. They have really bought and drank the analytics Kool-Aid that the more 3s, the merrier. And you can even have seen this with the Raptors. It's one of those situations where when it rains, it pours. It's great when they're going in. But when you look at the statistics, the improvement in the overall shooting percentage for 3s hasn't really gone up much over the last 10 years. So to me, what we're seeing in the NBA is that trend towards chucking, great word, and ignoring other ways to score, to the point where I think it's counterproductive, because then when you play against a team like Denver or a team like Philadelphia, and now, of course, with the emergence of Wembanyama, Chad Holmgren, we'll see where those guys go. But when you have a legitimate low post presence, you add a dimension that a lot of teams don't have right now, because what they're doing is just, as you point out, they're just looking to shoot the three as much as possible.
Yeah. Oh, now some are doing it quite well, right? There's no question about it.
Oh yeah.
Right. And, but it is, now you look at, numbers as far as, and you were a big man, Paul, when you played, still a big man. You look at, two rookies, Wemby has 197 points, 88 rebounds, 24 blocks. And then Holmgren has 164 points, 76 rebounds, and 23 blocks. They're the first pair of rookies to hit these numbers since Shaquille O'Neal and Alonzo Mourning back in 92, 93. Like, are they bringing back the big men?
Well, they're bringing them back, but they're bringing back the light version physically. Like, they're big, but they're both. It's real interesting. This is one of those. This is, I think, the generational evolution of the game of basketball. You have these two guys with incredible wingspans, incredible skill sets, because both of them can shoot the three. Both of them have a great game facing up to the basket, can also play back to the basket, but are more what you would call a traditional 3 or 4 player in terms of where they play and where they score. They score from attacking the basket from the front of the rim as opposed with their back to the rim. So I think, yeah, it brings back the big man, but it brings back the new big man, because you're dealing with two guys that are barely 200 pounds at over 7 feet tall. And you talk about Shaquille and Alonzo. I mean, you're talking about 700 pounds of guys there as opposed to 400. So it's a very different big man, but it's definitely bringing the big man back. And just wait, next draft, you're going to see a lot of long, big guys drafted, because the typical pattern in the NBA is if you have some success with one type of player, everybody goes out and tries to find the next one.
Well, yeah, and the fact that if you can find big men that can shoot, Paul, it's when they go to the big men who can't shoot. To me, that's almost, I'm not going to say a wasted pick, because they have value, but in today's NBA, they don't have nearly as much value.
They don't. You're right. If you can get a gem, and this all started with Dirk. He showed that 7-footers can shoot the three.
Mm-hmm.
Now the 7-footers want to shoot the three. I mean, that back to the basket game isn't as much fun as stepping out front and hitting the three. So Dirk led the way, and now players like Wemby, like Holmgren, they've worked on it since they were young, and they're able to do it successfully as players a lot smaller than them. So you're absolutely right. The traditional big man, not as much in demand, but that kind of segues nicely into the Raptors, in that they're lucky to have a guy like Pirtle, who is a traditional big man.
Yeah.
Who's able to take care of business around the basket. They still haven't found a consistent shooting rhythm, Jason, but they're getting there, and they're getting better. But to have a guy like Pirtle, who's able to just bang down low and clean up around the hoop and be very efficient, that's nice. That's a nice piece of the puzzle.
Well, they've had 2 significant comebacks here for victories, including a 24-point comeback last night over the Wizards. You look at Pascal Siakam, I think has had a very, he's slow start early, but he's been excellent lately. Same with Scotty Barnes. What do you make of this starting 5 of the Raptors?
Well, we talked a couple of weeks ago about it's an odd configuration of talent. It certainly is not a classic NBA roster, if there is such a thing in reality. But you've got so much length in that starting 5 when you've got a 7-footer like Pirtle and real long, tall players like Scotty Barnes and Pascal Siakam. Add in OG Anunoby at 6'8" and really long, the great defender, and then Dennis Schroeder. That's a really unusual mix. But Pascal, like you said, slow start, but he and coach seem to be getting along right now. And one thing that impresses me so much about Scotty Barnes is his genuine willingness to share the ball. And he looks for Pascal. And when Pascal's cooking, the Raptors are really good. When he's not so much so. So I think their starting 5 is intriguing. that's that should be a tough group to score on because they are so long and so athletic, and they do have a legitimate rim protector in Pirtle.
And what do you make of the Like, obviously, their starts have been terrible, Paul, but they don't give up, and they've been able to come back. So I give them a lot of credit. Like, Washington, I think, scored 1 point in the final 7 minutes last night. So that's part of on their inability to score for sure. But, well, what's your thoughts early on? Now you've had, 10 games to look at the Raptors and their coaching. What do you make of it?
Well, they're not hard to like. They're still figuring things out. I think the coach is he's a charismatic guy. He's definitely into the game. The players seem to like him. He knows FIBA basketball really well. I think that injection of international style of play into what the Raptors do could be helpful. I still think they're a piece or two away from being a legitimate threat. When you look at how Philadelphia with ex-Raptors coach Nick Nurse, how they're playing. And again, it's early. Boston looks very, very good. Milwaukee's another team that's still trying to figure itself out. And Damian Lillard has been, I think, kind of Pascal Siakam-like in that he's been hot and cold. So, overall, I don't dislike the Raptors. I think 5-5, that's kind of the type of team that I think they're going to be this year. And that was a great comeback last night, but the team, unfortunately, they came back against is 2-9 and not a very good team. So for them to be down that early is more indicative of some of the other issues the Raptors have to come to terms with.
Paul, good stuff. We will chat some hoops with you again next week. Have a good one.
Yeah, you as well, Jason. Take care. Thanks.
That's Paul Sir joining us, talk a little hoops every Tuesday here on Sports 1440. Shan Brown is in studio, ready to rock and roll. We'll talk about defense. What kind of changes do you expect? And, when you have a defense coach, what are the things? Evan Bouchard talked a little bit about some of the things that Dave Manson worked on with him. And, Paul Coffey has some other things that he wants to work on with Evan Bouchard, specifically moving the puck quicker. Right? That's a big thing that Evan Bouchard talked about today. So we'll hear all of that and more after the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. The Road Ready sales event is on right now. $225 off select tires. Also, you can get an extra $50 off when you book any service right now at fountaintire.com through until December 16th. Book yours, fountaintire.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Police in England say they placed a man in custody this week who had connection to the death of ex-NHL player Adam Johnson. According to South Yorkshire Police, the man was arrested on suspicion of manslaughter on Tuesday, 70 days after Johnson tragically died from injuries he suffered when Matt Petgrave's skate slashed him in the neck during an elite ice hockey league game. In announcing the arrest, authorities did not say if it was Petgrave that was the man who they had in custody. Edmonton Oilers forward Leon Draisaitl was fined $5,000 today for a dangerous trip on Islanders center boat Horvat. Draisaitl received a 2-minute minor for the trip on Horvat in the second period of the Oilers' 4-1 victory Monday night. On the ice tonight, the Bruins are in Buffalo. Canadians host the Flames. Caps taking on the Golden Knights. Blue Jackets host the Penguins. The Lightning travel to St. Louis. Ducks take on the Nashville Predators. Stars host the Coyotes. Winnipeg up against the Devils. And the Panthers are in San Jose. In the association, the in-season tournament rolls on. Hornets host the Heat. Hawks take on the Pistons. 76ers welcome the Pacers to Philadelphia. The Spurs will take on the Thunder. Pelicans host the Mavs. Clippers in Denver, and the Warriors up against the Timberwolves. The Buffalo Bills have fired offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey. The move came a day after their 24-22 loss to the Denver Broncos. Second-year quarterbacks coach Joe Brady will take over as interim coordinator. He joined the Bills after spending the previous 2 seasons with the Carolina Panthers. And in the AJ, we've got 2 games tonight as Drayton Valley hosting Olds and Calgary's in Okotoks. Both those games will start at 7. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by our co-host and former NHLer Shan Brown. Also, we'll be joined by Dave McCarthy from SiriusXM NHL. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is
Getting a delicious McMuffin and a medium premium roast coffee? Getting a delicious McMuffin and a medium premium roast coffee for only $4 plus tax. It's your favorite McDonald's breakfast for less. What's better than that? For a limited time at participating McDonald's in Canada, prices exclude delivery.
A solid financial plan is made up of more than just investments. Investments are an important part, but you need a more comprehensive approach. Roger Weird at Weird Pearson Akel & Associates Private Wealth Management understands that. He can help build a plan that includes retirement, estate planning, personal insurance, tax strategies, and yes, investments. Talk to him today and see the difference a real financial plan makes. Weird Pearson Akel & Associates. Call 780-988-4119 or visit weirdadvisoryteam.com.
Our cars are our lifeline, and every now and then we need to take care of them too. Cochran's Automotive services your vehicle with pride. When you need to fix it up, bring the whole family fleet. Junior's WRX, Mom's MPV, Dad's 1500, or even Grandpa's old 88. All makes and models are welcome. Trust Cochran's Automotive to professionally repair your family's pride and joy. They've got you covered for Volkswagen diesel timing belts too. Call 780-452-5001.
It's simply the best time to buy. The Black Friday event is on right now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. You'll save up to a game-changing $7,500 off your purchase or finance as low as 1.49%. Choose from a winning selection of 2023 cars and SUVs like the sleek S60 or the roomy and comfortable XC60s and 90s. Black Friday is on now at Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. Visit 1205 101st Street Southwest or chat online at volvocarsedmonton.com.
Hey Canada, Tim's new Holiday Smile cookie is here. 100% of proceeds support local charities, community groups, and Tim Hortons Foundation camps. From November 13th to 19th, buy a Holiday Smile cookie at Tim's to give back to your community at participating restaurants in Canada.
Weiss Johnson, whoa.
Hi, Dennis from Weiss Johnson. Can you believe that summer is over and fall is here? With that in mind, we are offering free furnace upgrades from Daikin, should you be looking to get a new furnace. This means getting a better model of furnace that provides you greater comfort at a lower price. Plus, Daikin has the best warranty in the business. There's never a better time to get a new Daikin furnace from Weiss Johnson. We know how important a good furnace is in Edmonton, so don't procrastinate as this is a limited time offer. Visit wjheats.com today.
Fact: 1 in 6 Alberta men will face prostate cancer, so please support the Man Van, the mobile testing clinic for prostate cancer. Visit prostatecancercenter.ca to donate in November and keep it in Alberta. All donations go towards the Man Van and stay right here in Edmonton.
Through a lovely Tuesday afternoon. Welcome back. Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440 live on Oilers Nation YouTube. Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where you can get involved. It's a Tuesday. 23 mil. Lots up for grabs today at PlayAlberta.ca. Where a quick look ahead, Oiler fans. The Oilers are heavy favorites against Seattle. They I don't know if the Oilers are back. Well, I'm not going to say I don't know. I'm going to say for sure the Oilers aren't back yet over 2 victories over 2 teams who can't score, but there's signs of progress moving in the right direction, which is all you can ask when you are off to such a horrible start like the Edmonton Oilers. Obviously, they got a long ways to go. They play Seattle tomorrow. It's another team they should beat, but then they go on a real tough road trip. In Tampa Bay, Bolts are playing well. They might have Vasilevsky. Then you play Florida, who's playing great, and they're getting healthier. They're getting guys back. Then you're into Carolina, who had a terrible start. Not like the Oilers terrible, just terrible goals against start, but they were winning games, and they're obviously very good. And then even the surprising Washington Capitals at the end of that road trip. The good news for the Oilers is there's no back-to-backs. The road trips so far haven't been difficult as far as fatigue goes. Right. And even from a travels perspective, they're in Edmonton on Wednesday. They don't play until Tampa on Saturday. So, it's not a crazy travel either as far as, having to play here and then travel and get into on Wednesday, have an extra day off. So the schedule has actually been beneficial. They haven't taken advantage of it, but it's been beneficial. Let's get to our regular Tuesday co-host who has had a week off in Arizona. Shan Brown joins us. Brownie, how you doing, my man?
Good. Happy to be back. Rested, back in the groove.
Oh, you were just waiting for all the carnage, eh? And you're like, oh, I'm coming back in now. A new coach. What did you make of the coaching change?
Yeah, it's tough. Little bit of I don't know. Obviously, it was a surprise in some ways. The way the Oilers were playing, this isn't a reflection, obviously, of the coaching staff. They're two good coaches, two good men. This is just a reflection of where they're at as a team. And, to me, it looked like a team that it needed to, something had to happen. There had to been a change.
Yeah.
Right. It was very uninspiring hockey that they were playing. It was almost like they were at the point where they were waiting for something to happen. So a little bit, I was surprised. I was hoping, I was a Woodcroft fan. I was hoping he was going to be able to work through it, especially after the win. But I understand the process and listening to the media when they had, introduced the new coaching staff and Ken talked about it. It's not easy. It's never easy to make that decision and it takes time. But you know what? It's a little bit of a boost. It looked like they got that yesterday, the bump that, every coaching change usually gets. So, hopefully they can build off of some of the things that they did well yesterday.
As a defenseman, Dave Manson and Paul Coffey, I think, will have different approaches to certain things, right? Evan Bouchard said that today when I asked him, right? Dave Manson, for Bouchard anyway, want a real emphasis on, playing a little bit heavier and stronger in areas. And Paul Coffey, his, at least to Bouchard anyway, is I really need you to move the puck. I want you to focus on moving the puck quicker, right? Like that's obviously one of your best skill sets. So let's see how it goes. There's lots of people saying, hey, Paul Coffey doesn't have coaching experience. Now he's played in the league. You played for lots of different coaches and you've coached yourself. So the understanding of the game, I'm not sure anybody questions that on Coffey, but the art of coaching, right? You might have lots of knowledge, but do you have the ability to take your knowledge and present it in a way that the players understand? That to me is the art of coaching, right? So I don't know if you know that right away or not on a guy, but what do you make of Paul Coffey coming in, right? He's got like 1 year of junior A coaching experience and that's it.
Yeah, it's tough for anyone, no matter what level or how much success you've had in the game. It doesn't always translate, but when you look at Dave Manson's style and Paul Coffey's style, they were obviously two different styles and successful in their own ways. I think a guy, when you talk about Bouchard, could really benefit from a guy like Paul Coffey, who was a smooth skating, skilled defenseman. He'd be very, he'd be able to relate very well to someone like Bouchard. And when he's, as a skilled guy, is telling you to move the puck, knowing that this guy put up big numbers and was able to, play a skilled game. It doesn't mean like, a lot of young defensemen or defensemen in general think, well, if I just move the puck, that, I'm out of the play. This is the beginning of something good.
Yeah.
Right. There's a lot of ways to create offense in the offensive zone, especially the way they play now. If you look at how active defensemen are and their ability to cycle and play below the tops of the circles and below the goal line, like that's today's NHL. You have to be able to play that way because it's hard to defend. It creates a lot of confusion in the defensive zone. So I think it's going to be really good for Bouchard to have a guy like Coffey. And I think that, as far as him not having the experience, because of what he's done, it's obviously that's the initial going to get the respect of the guys. And now it's on Coffey to build that relationship and the trust within, with that defense core.
Now, I was watching last night. I was watching on the bench closely, and my seat is right across the ice. So I'm watching. Coffey was talking to lots of guys, and Matthias Ekholm talked about part of this feeling out process is even the coach understanding the players. Ekholm said he loves getting instant feedback in a game. If the coach sees something, hey, here, there, great. And it's not always just, you can't only tell them what they're not doing, right? It's about, hey, I really like that play, what do you see, or whatever it is. Mark Stewart's right down there, and then there's Coffey as well, right? Stewart, of course, like, I wonder, like, is this in unison a little bit here, right? With Stewart there as well as Coffey, or does that create some uncertainty because you don't know what message you're getting? Like, maybe Coffey's the only one talking to the players, but then him and Stewart are talking about what you see. Like, because there can't be too many voices, correct?
Absolutely. You don't want to, you got to be careful you don't overcoach, right?
Yes.
I mean, I think a lot of probably what Coffey would be saying is probably, a lot of pumping the tires, really, to be honest with you. I think it's great for Stewart to have Paul Coffey there and vice versa, right? They're able to kind of learn from each other. And, obviously now those two guys are spending a ton of time together in a cubicle in the dressing room and bouncing ideas and philosophies off of each other to make sure that they're on the same page, and which will ultimately benefit, the defense core. So, you don't, I think today's kid, they do like to be talked to. And it all depends on what you're saying to them. And Coffey has been around this team, for quite a while now. He probably has an idea maybe, and with his relationships to guys and the trust that he's built in this short time, to be able to talk to them. And there's no better way, to get a better understanding, because sometimes, these guys are the ones that are playing, and we're all sitting back there and critiquing and questioning why they're doing things. And sometimes when you're talking, it's nice to get an understanding, hey, maybe you should move 2 feet to the right or to the left here. And the defenseman is saying, hey, listen, this is what I seen, and this is why I did it. Right. So those conversations are good. That's what it's all about. It's coaching.
Yeah. Shan Brown joined us. It's only one game, and I don't really, and the coach didn't make a lot of changes before that game, right? There's just, you don't have enough time. You have a morning skate, even today at practice. Now, there was a few little things in practice today that I watched that, they were just working on stick positioning, really trying to funnel guys to the outside through the neutral zone, right? I had a brief chat. Connor Brown kind of mentioned that as well. And so, those are small little things that they can implement over time. That this is something a coach might believe in more than another coach. Say, hey, I really want this to be a focus of our team. Every coach has one or two things. There's a basic, hey, this is the system we want to play. Like he talked about it. He wants to play zone defense. Well, I know everybody got their shorts in a knot because the Oilers tried to change at the start of the year. Like, wow, it's terrible. That's the system that cost them. I don't believe for a second it was the system. It was the execution or lack thereof from the players, because zone defense isn't that hard. Ronnie, you've played it. You played man-to-man. You play zone. And in this one, Knoblauch kind of talked about the quadrants, right? Here's your quadrant. I would think I never played defense at any high level. I did play defense once for 1 year because the coach was losing his mind and decided I'd play defense. And I did learn lots. But I was happy the next year when I got to play forward again.
You could shut your brain off.
Yeah. But it helped me at seeing the ice. I will say that. Like, it was a different viewpoint from back there. But as a D-man, when they play, it doesn't mean that you just sit in your quadrant necessarily, but what do you make of zone did you like one better as a defender?
No, I mean, I think that here's a rough idea. I mean, like I touched on earlier, the teams that are hard to play against right now, when you watch, yesterday's game or you watch the NHL, is the amount of movement, right? And the more movement you can creates a lot of uncertainty. It creates the defensive team to now, making sure they're pivoting, they're, head on a swivel and ultimately communicating, which now, there's a better chance of breakdowns. It's very hard to defend that when the defensemen are switching and moving in and out, and you got three guys high, and as a defenseman we naturally don't want to get too far away from our net. As we get further away from our net, it becomes a little bit uncomfortable. But in today's game, you have to get comfortable with doing that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you talk about the little details about the neutral zone and dictating with your stick and angling and putting guys in positions where you want them to go. That's one thing I really noticed in yesterday's game with the Islanders, is how well they got in on the forecheck, but how many plays they actually broke up with just stick on puck.
Yeah.
Right.
Zach Hyman.
Like it was unbelievable. And you know, obviously the Oilers didn't start, you know, the way they wanted to start, but as they got going, they started adding that into their game. And you know, that's, you know, you watch the NHL now and you watch the Oilers fourth line there, Holloway and God, it's escaping my name, 71 there.
McLeod.
Like they skate so well.
Yeah.
And now if they can close and keep pucks alive and turn pucks over with their stick, you know, it's hard to play against those guys. And they created a lot off of that.
Yeah, eventually, you know, they'll need some finish. And the one thing Ryan McLeod has got to readjust his scope. He has 15 shots on goal, but he has 11 missed shots. Like you don't want to be 50-50 there. That's just not a good ratio for shots missed to the net. And I know Fogle talked about it, that, you know, Woodcroft talked to him at the start. Hey man, you missed the net too much, right? You're not scoring ever. Right? Like look at Connor McDavid's goal last night. It wasn't a perfect shot. It basically ended up going right through Sorokin, and the crowd goes nuts. Now imagine for a second if that goal went through Stuart Skinner, and how people would freak out. That's what I always try to say. Not every goal is terrible, right? McDavid put in the right spot, got a little bit lucky. Would Sorokin want it back? Probably. And it happens both ways. Skinner, solid again, and didn't have to face a ton of quality chances. When he did, though, he made some huge stops right in front, and that's what you want from your goalie. And so it builds some confidence. 320, Jason Gregor, Shan Brown with you on Sports 1440. You can always email us in our Jiffy Lube inbox, 833-401-1440. That's the text line you can get to. When we return, we will have later on the show 5 questions. Dave McCarthy joins us next. Some games in Sweden coming up this weekend. Some potential changes through 3-on-3 overtime. Struddy will be by. Help your neighbor and more on a busy Tuesday edition of the Gregor Show.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
When basketball legend Shaquille O'Neal joined the team at Papa John's, he brought some big ideas, but his biggest idea is the Shaq-a-Roni pizza. It's a massive pizza designed to feed big appetites and make a big impact. It comes with 8 foldable Shaq-sized slices, loaded with extra cheese and extra pepperonis. But what makes it really big is that for every Shaq-a-Roni sold through December 31st, 2023, Papa John's donates $1 to Second Harvest to provide 3 healthy meals to people and agencies in need. The Shaq-a-Roni is bigger than pizza. Get yours today for only $21.99, only at Papa John's.
No project too difficult. No problem too complex for Action Electrical. Edmonton's leading electrical contractor is a family-run business since 1973 and proud to offer complete commercial electrical services of the highest quality. When you need a contractor to design, build, implement, and maintain complex systems or emergency electrical assistance, help is here with the professionals. Book a service call at actionelectrical.net today. That's actionelectrical.net.
You know, I got into reffing for the excitement.
He's going for the chair.
Turns out wrestling is completely scripted. But you know what's exciting and unscripted? PlayAlberta.ca. With an all-new sportsbook, odds boosts, and betting on any game.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today with promo code SPORTS50 and get a $50 free bet. Official gaming partner of the Edmonton Oilers. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
Now, if I lift this up and then hit it right here.
No, it's hit, then lift. What are you guys doing?
We can't get this thing to work.
For guaranteed same-day service, call Franco Sorgiovanni at Corporate Business Solutions before someone makes it even worse. Most issues can be resolved within 20 minutes or less. Corporate Business Solutions is an authorized Konica Minolta office equipment dealer for sales and service. Call CBS today at 780-490-5600 or visit cbsca.com.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cblhomes.com.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is
On the Rocks.
Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, EDM.
Eat well, party hard.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
Hi, Larry Ricci from Vision RV. If you're heading south this winter, remember, we offer acres of inventory. New and pre-owned with some great deals to help you start your journey. Maybe it's your first RV. You've come to the right place. Or maybe you're upgrading. We'll give you top dollar for your trade towards that beautiful new travel trailer, fifth wheel, motorhome, park model, or truck camper. The first just south of the Yellowhead on Highway 60.
Action Electrical is expanding throughout Alberta. With the recent acquisition of Big Hill Electrical Services in Cochrane, Action Electrical is the most diversified electrical contractor in Alberta. What does this mean for Action Electrical and Big Hill Electrical Services? It means that they are able to support their clientele all over Alberta with the same high level of professionalism and integrity. From conception to completion and beyond, throughout Alberta, contact
The professionals
at actionelectrical.net today. That's actionelectrical.net.
Black Friday early deals are on now at Canadian Tire. Save up to 50% on kitchen essentials, tools, Christmas decor, and more. These prices won't go any lower this year. Ends November 22nd. Conditions apply. Visit CanadianTire.ca or flyer for details.
A little Katrina and the Waves. Woo! This one must have been requested by our next guest. Huge fan, I'm thinking. Huge fan. As welcome back to the Gregor Show. Sports 1440 as we go around the NHL. Brought to you by McDonald's. And it's Tuesday. You know what that means? McFan Day. Guess what? The Fan Day deals are back. $4 for a Big Mac, a McChicken, or a filet of fish today when you use the McDonald's app. Now, let's be real. You're loving the Big Mac, McChicken. I know some of you, like Brownie's probably a filet of fish guy, but, you're very rare. Like, remember when they had the blue box and it stood out? You knew right away if they were a filet of fisher. I was never a filet of fisher. Definitely a Big Macker. McChicken, sure. But Big Mac all the way. Do you ever have filet of fish, Brownie?
Never, but you know what? I'm not a fast food guy unless it's like 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah, so then a lot. I'm not a fast food guy unless it's 2 in the morning. Brownie, how many times do you go at 2 in the morning? 3-4 times a week. As we are joined by a gentleman who is a fast fooder every now and then. He's also a big bird watcher. Dave McCarthy from Sirius XM joins us. Davey, how you doing?
Good. You guys kill me. That's hilarious. How many times you go? 3-4 times a week.
Just going out for a peek, eh? Hey, Davey, just going out for a peek at 2 in the morning. Are you a filet of fisher?
No, I was never. I'm not the biggest fish guy to begin with. The only way you get fish into me is if I can grill my own salmon on the queue. But I'll mix in a Big Mac every now and again when you need a burgie, when you're out at 2 a.m. having a peek. Yeah.
I can't remember who it was, but somebody said they get the double quarter pounder with Big Mac sauce because it takes out the middle bun, and they say it's a game changer. I've never done it, but I'm intrigued.
That's a lot of meat.
Yeah, I know. That's what I said, but hey, that's good. Speaking of meat, how much meat do you think there is on this bone of potential changes to 3-on-3? Because I'm telling you, I'm loving the people that are brought up because 3-on-3 used to be awesome. It's still pretty good, but we do see lots more like eliminating over and back, where once you gain center, you can't control, purposely just skate out and regroup. I love that idea. I think it makes you attack more. Do you think there's an appetite for it?
I have concerns, though. What if you pass the puck back and miss?
Because it's not under control. Then it's okay.
If it's not under control, then it's okay.
The rule is because you see the guys, they leave the offensive zone and then they skate all the way back with the puck, just kind of regroup.
Okay.
That's what you're trying to eliminate.
My other element of concern is what if you get close to the red line and then suddenly we're under review after an overtime winner to see if the guys skate when a couple of inches over the red line for whatever reason.
But if the puck's in the zone still, then Dave, that's fine. It's like offside, right? If you have the puck inside the offensive zone and you skate out of it, you're fine.
No, I understand that. But I just feel like we could be subjecting ourselves to further video reviews. Because, I mean, let's put it this way. When we brought in the offside review, it wasn't necessarily intended to go down the road that it did for a while. And I think we kind of got away from the spirit of the rule. And as a result, we've over-subjected ourselves to unnecessary video review. I just don't want that to be the case, especially in a point of the game where there is a decisive result at hand, because that'll really, really spoil the spontaneity of the celebration and the drama and the excitement in the building. If, hang on, we got to review this. So that's the only thing I'm concerned about, that it subjects us to further video review, because I don't think we need that. I personally, fellas, don't have much of an issue with 3-on-3 the way it is right now. It's not as frenetic as it was maybe when it was brought in by the league, but by and large, it's generally pretty exciting. The game the other night here in Toronto, when Toronto ended up beating Calgary in a shootout, the only thing I would have wanted out of that game was to see overtime extended by 2 or 3 minutes. And I spoke to a couple of guys after that said, look, I wouldn't mind going another 2 or 3 minutes. What is that? Probably like one extra shift for the top players. That's what I would prefer to see. I don't really think we need to tinker too much with the mechanics of how 3-on-3 is played.
All right. That's fair. A few things are around the league. Give me your thoughts, because everybody in Edmonton's always curious. What did you make of the Oiler moves over the weekend?
Well, I think there was a series of moves that were made last week to try to spark the team. Like Adam Ernie was placed on waivers. That was, a minor attempt at sparking the team. Then Jack Campbell was placed on waivers. That was a more major attempt to get everybody's attention. And then they lost to San Jose in regulation. And then ultimately the coach gets fired.
Terrible loss, by the way, Dave.
Oh, it's I mean, there's just really no way to put it. There are no words to describe how unacceptable it was for the Edmonton Oilers to lose to San Jose in regulation. And that ultimately, I think, was the straw that broke the camel's back. Obviously, they needed to get some paperwork done to get Chris Knoblauch out of Hartford, deal with the Rangers. So that took a couple of days, and I think that explains why Jay Woodcroft got the Seattle game. But now they're in a position where, look, they got a lot of work to do to climb themselves back into the standings. Do I think it was all on Jay Woodcroft? No, I really don't.
No.
I think it's on the group of players to ultimately decide that we're going to have to buy into a system here and not just run out there and try and score a goal where we try to beat teams 6-5 every night. Commit to structure and play that way. Otherwise, they have no chance. So this really is ultimately on the players, and that includes Connor McDavid, that includes Leon Draisaitl, that includes the top guys, to be better. Everyone, to a man, needs to be better. And what has to happen now, it needs to start with the top guys. Because, as I said, they're going to have to commit to a system. But it needs to be shown that 97 is committing to it, and that Draisaitl is committing to it. And then if the coach can get buy-in from them, then it becomes easier to hold other guys down the lineup accountable. But if there's two sets of rules and McDavid and Draisaitl get to do their own thing, whatever, it's just not going to work. It needs to be bought in from the top down. That's going to be the challenge now, I think, moving forward for Edmonton. It's a shame for Jay Woodcroft because it was not entirely on him. This is on the players. How many head coaches do they need, really, before the message gets through? the time is now for the players to get it.
Dave, good on the Oilers for going outside the box, I guess, and as far as giving a relatively new young coach an opportunity. And good on the New York Rangers for allowing Chris the opportunity to come here. Do you think this is something new? Could this be a trend? And will this give new up and coming young coaches opportunities in the future?
Yeah, maybe. I think anytime a team approaches your organization for a move that is not considered a lateral move, but a promotion, you should be willing to allow a team to have that employee, really, because I mean, I think it speaks to your organization. If you don't, and if you continually block people from getting promotions, then I think people will ultimately think longer and harder about whether I want to come to your organization, because am I going to get pigeonholed here? So yeah, 100% credit to the New York Rangers for allowing Chris Knoblauch out of that deal. Yeah, I think it's a bit of a misnomer at times that younger coaches, newer coaches don't get opportunities. Like Ryan Husky got hired in Calgary this year. That's a new coach. So I think there's a number of opportunities. Like Greg Cronin, guy's 60 years old. He's only ever been an assistant coach or a head coach at the minor league level. Anaheim hired him when they could have gone to somebody, more established at the NHL level. So whether it's younger or whether it's inexperienced coaches, I think there's a ton of guys getting opportunities nowadays. So I don't think that's as much of an issue as some seem to believe that it is. As it pertains to Edmonton, though, I was a little surprised that they went with a guy who has a lack of NHL experience, right? And such a relationship to Connor McDavid, because now we talked about it becomes about establishing structure, establishing accountability. I think that's one area that Jay Woodcroft struggled in was accountability, holding guys to account. It becomes more difficult, I think, to do that when you don't have experience at the NHL level. And especially when you have prior relationships, as Chris Knoblauch does with Connor McDavid. Like if I was Chris, first meeting I would have had was with 97, pulled him into my office and said, look, man, you're all about winning. We want to be about winning here. The only way that's going to happen is if we all start to pull on the oar in the same direction. And the only way I'm going to be able to get everyone to do that is if you're doing it too. And if you slip, I have to come to you and tell you that I need better out of you. I need to hold you, in other words, to account. Are you on board with that? And I mean, at that point, if his answer is no, that's a humongous problem. The answer should be yes, but at least then it's been put out up front so that everyone's on the same page and that Connor understands, look, this applies to me too, because as I said, if he's not buying in, you can't hold anybody else to account. So that's the first meeting I would have had if I was Chris Knoblauch, and now it comes down to actually adhering to that and holding guys to account so that they all can pull in the same direction, because the talent is there, but they need to find a way to collectively make the parts greater as a whole than a group of individuals.
Dave McCarthy from Sirius XM joins us. Dave, the Florida Panthers, lots of people thought that they'd be in the ditch at this point of the season with all their injuries, especially their two best defensemen, and Ekblad and Montour. Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Probably haven't talked about it enough. Oliver Ekman-Larsson has been very good in Florida. We had Jeff Merrick on. He actually thinks it's easier for defensemen to play in the East than it is in the West. It's not necessarily as fast overall. What do you make of that?
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, there's some guys who can get around the ice in the East. I think from a travel standpoint, it might be a little bit easier, certainly, to play in the East, especially for a guy that's getting a little older. Might take a little longer to recover. Travel's not as onerous, certainly, as it is in Vancouver, where, every game is a long ass haul to get to wherever you're going. Right. So, when you play in Florida, Tampa's just up the road. Carolina's just up the road. It's a 2.5 hour flight to Toronto. It's a 2 hour flight to, it's not 3+ hours pretty much every single time. So that might help a little bit. Yeah, he's played really well. He really has. And now that Florida's been able to stem that tide and keep their heads above water until they get Ekblad and Montour back, Now it's only going to make it easier for OEL. They'll be able to push him down the lineup a little bit into even more favorable matchups for a guy at the stage of his career that he's at. So credit to the Panthers. They were a little rocky at the beginning of the year, but they steadied the course, and now they're in really, really good shape. And that was a concern of mine coming in. Like you take a team's top 2 defensemen out of the lineup for like 18 games. That's almost a quarter of the season. There's a lot of teams to be in real tough shape if you do that. So credit to Florida for being able to get through that. You look at another team, Tampa Bay. They've been trying to make do without Andrei Vasilevsky, who's around the corner. They're hoping within a couple of weeks he's back just after Thanksgiving in the U.S. But it's going to be important for them to have a solid couple of weeks here because they're right on that edge of slipping back a little bit. So that's going to be fascinating to follow out of Tampa Bay. But Florida's been in really good shape. So at this point, you get Ekblad and Montour back, you'd have to expect that they're going to go on a little bit of a run here and really solidify themselves atop the division.
Dave, you're bang on the flights. For a guy that doesn't like flying, when I got traded to the East, and those hour flights were a blessing for me. But with the NHL celebrating some of their best players and best people in the game yesterday, do you think with the Hall of Fame, do you think the NHL should have a blackout date and where we can celebrate it a little bit more as a fan?
100%. I don't understand because there are the odd days randomly throughout the year where there are no games. And we're all like, why? It's a Friday night. Like, I kind of want to watch a game. Why is there no games? Nothing else going on. That would be a day where, to me, it would make sense because there's always usually like 2. Okay, so if we've got 2, we can find a way to make it 0 and cram those games in at some other point on the schedule. I think it would make a lot of sense to have that day dark, to celebrate. I consider the Hall of Fame, it's like the Met Gala of hockey. Anybody who's anybody shows up, everyone's dressed to the nines. It's a celebration of the game's greats. And there's hockey's so small, right? I don't have to tell you guys that. The relationships run deep. And, I'm sure there'd be a lot of guys that might be tied up having to play a game that they're not able to get up if the opportunity provides itself to get up here and celebrate, their teammate or their colleague or somebody they'd worked with in the past or whatever it might be. So, yeah, I do think that if the opportunity allows, it would make sense to have that day dark on the schedule.
It's a year in advance, but I've seen reports, people suggesting the NHL Hall won't put any Russian players right now, which is perplexing to me. So Pavel Datsyuk can't go into the Hockey Hall of Fame, but Russian players can currently play in the NHL. I don't see how you can have it both ways.
No, it makes no sense. No, that to me is not an issue. Like, I get why there's reluctance to have Russia part of an international tournament at this point in time. I understand that. But guys, especially who have long since concluded their playing careers, and in a case of a guy like Alex McGillney, who was the first guy to defect from, in other words, I want to get the hell out of here and come to North America.
Yeah.
Why would that be held against him? Makes no sense to me. So, I haven't heard anybody of credibility suggest that this is an issue. There might be some people who, the take offense crowd that have an issue with this as their issue du jour. But to me, it's a non-issue at this point to have guys who've long since concluded their playing career, especially in cases like Alex McGillney, who wanted to get the hell out and come over to North America. That shouldn't be held against them.
Yeah, I would agree. Davey, good stuff, buddy. We will chat with you next Tuesday. Have a great week.
Okay, boys. See you.
That's Dave McCarthy from Sirius XM. We got a lot of texts to get to with Shan Brown. We'll get to his thoughts on how do you hold players accountable as teammates. We'll get to some of that and more on Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, live on Sports 1440 and Orders Nation YouTube.
What's better than getting a delicious McMuffin and a medium premium roast coffee? getting a delicious McMuffin and a medium premium roast coffee for only $4 plus tax. It's your favorite McDonald's breakfast for less. What's better than that? For a limited time at participating McDonald's in Canada, prices exclude delivery.
Rodeo clowning felt like an exciting opportunity. Boy, was I ever wrong. The Bulls. So predictable. But you know what's exciting and unpredictable? PlayAlberta.ca. I can bet on any sports game, play online casino games anytime, and buy lottery tickets anywhere.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today and get over $100 in welcome bonuses. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
Looking to tackle your backyard projects with power and precision this fall? Look no further than Kubota compact tractors. Experience the perfect blend of compact size and unbeatable value with Kubota. Right now, take advantage of financing as low as 0% for up to 84 months and save up to $1,500 on select models. Plus, as the temperature drops, get ready for Alberta winters with confidence with Kubota Performance Match snowblowers, sweeper, and blades. Visit Edmonton Kubota today for details.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients. Better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. That's Sports20.
Your furnace is dead. It's time to replace it before winter crushes you. Legacy Heating and Cooling is practically there already.
Yeah, we're working in your basement, doing a replacement. The work is so earnestly building your legacy.
With no payments and no interest for 1 year, you gotta call Legacy. Replacing your dying furnace before it's too late, that's how you build your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
What does 3 decades of perfecting your craft look like? Ask the guys at Leduc Goldsmiths, locally run and bringing you nothing but quality work and service. Built from the ground up through family, from generation to generation, uncle to nephew, father to son. The pride in their family jewelry store is the pride you take home, bringing you custom and repair work. But it's their face-to-face service that keeps you coming back. Leduc Goldsmiths on Main Street, Leduc. Leduc's jewelry store, family owned and operated for over 30 years.
Your furnace is broken. Legacy Heating and Cooling will give it a good talking to and make it smarten its act up right now.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
If your furnace is disobedient and refuses to heat.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
If you just want some peace of mind this winter.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Plus, Legacy never charges overtime rates. Always call Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Jason Gregor, Shan Brown with you on Sports 1440. Oilers Nation YouTube. How are you? Got a lot of text flying in, some good ones to get to. Hey Brownie, when you were with the Oilers or any other team, what did your group do to hold players accountable? How does this group create team toughness? I feel there's no gamesmanship with the group. By the way, I was glad how Leon reacted last night with his cross check from M.
Right. Yeah, that's a tough question now because when I played, we practiced all the time. Like
Yeah.
Mac T was a big practice guy, no days off. And I liked being on the ice, to be honest with you. I wasn't a guy, obviously, that was counted on and played huge minutes. So I wanted to be on the ice all the time, working on my game and practicing. Today's today's teams, they don't practice as much. But I remember coming into the league as a pro and being amazed from junior to pro, the intensity, the compete, and the fact that guys would fight in practice. There was a huge level of accountability in practice. And that's the beautiful thing about this game, is that when guys aren't pulling their weight or doing what they should be doing on or off the ice or how they're conducting themselves, you can justify it by going after someone on it. It's accepted to go at them in practice. And there was lots of times that there was lots of fights, altercations, and especially, when guys weren't in the lineup, guys weren't happy. It's not a fun place to be when you're not playing. There's no better place to be than at the rink when you're winning. But when you're not winning and you're not playing, right, you're doing everything you can to show the coaches that you want to be in there. You're not going to accept it. And you're obviously working on your habits and trying to work your way through it. And a lot of times because of that, there's altercations. You got highly competitive athletes on the ice, and it's just, you can't avoid it. But the healthiest teams have the healthiest dressing rooms as far as account, because a coach can only do so much.
Thank you.
Right?
Yes.
A coach can only do so much. And like I said, Woodcroft is a good coach, and he's going to get back in this league. And so is Dave Manson at some point. You can see through their game and how uninspired, and they needed a change. And unfortunately, you can't change, you can't change all the players. You can only change a coach. So, and I guess getting back to it is there's obviously, I never really liked fighting teammates myself. But there was lots of times I did get into altercations just because, of my style and how I had to play. And, but that's, on all the teams that I was with, by far, the accountability came from the players in practice and their habits, and holding each other to a high standard.
Yeah. So it's a good question. Other move, this just coming down. So I told you earlier, Dylan Holloway is injured. Probably going to be out a few months. Got a knee injury after he crashed into the boards, just lost an edge and went basically knee first into the boards. Brutal. So he's injured. The orders today announced that Raphael Lavoie is going to Bakersfield. So they had 12 forwards in the lineup last night. Now there's 2 gone. So Brown skated again today, second day in a row. He said he was very close. So I assume he's close. So that's 11. They only have 6 defensemen. So unless Matthias Janmark is ready, even though I haven't seen him skate, that would be odd to me. There's got to be another move coming. So something to follow. Now, it might just be another recall, but if it was, why wouldn't you have sent Lavoie down today and then announced who the recall was at the same time? Right? That's a little odd to me that you wouldn't do that. So I don't know. Is there something else brewing? I'm just when I'm crunching the numbers, I see no reason to put yourself in a position that you're with Holloway injured, Brown coming back, that replaces each other. And now you're going to send Lavoie down and just run 11-6. Well, that makes no sense to me. So,
especially because Lavoie, did he do anything right or wrong? Like he looks like a young rookie trying to cut his teeth, right?
Yeah, but to me he didn't do anything that's like, oh my God, he's got to stay in the lineup, right? Like I have no problem if he goes down to the American League and plays more minutes, right? He's still only being a guy who's played 40 really good AHL games, right? He's a young player. If Raphael Lavoie is down in the minors for another 3 weeks or a month and is lighting it up playing 20 minutes a night, I don't think that's a problem. But I just think there's, they're looking at wanting, but I think they need another left shot is what it is, because Holloway's gone. Brown comes back. He's a right shot. Lavoie's a right shot. Ryan's a right shot. Finally, the orders when they never had any right shots. Now they have too many right shots. So, I wonder if maybe Ernie's coming back up or something else.
So was Woodcroft were we not in the situation where we weren't playing 4 lines? And that's kind of why maybe Woodcroft is not here. And now you got a new coach. why not play 4 lines? Keep him, he's
Well,
not playing a lot of minutes.
He played 4 lines last night, but even though in a night where there wasn't many power plays, and if you look at the rotation, people are like, yeah, McDavid and them, they only played 20 minutes. Great. Yes. But your 4th line guy still only played 8.5, right? Because all that happened was the 2nd line played more, the 3rd line played more. That's what happened last night, right? So I just think they look at Raphael Lavoie, and I've watched Raphael Lavoie play. He hasn't done anything horrible at all, but he hasn't done anything to say, wow, he's really stepping out and standing out either. So, him going down is one. And, do they accrue cap space? Yes, but you're not going to just accrue cap space and go 11-6. I guess you could, but that would be an odd decision for me. So to me, there's got to be something else coming here. It just doesn't add up. The math doesn't make sense. Why would you purposely play fewer players when you don't have to? You have the cap space. You know what? Holloway and Brown, you have the cap space. You can do it. So to me, there's got to be something else coming.
And I think he obviously played well enough. That's why he got called up. I'd like to see, if you're going to bring up Ernie and bring him down, I would rather see, there's way more upside in Lavoie. No?
Yeah, but he's playing left wing and he's never played left wing. Because maybe that's why.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta, that's part of being a young player, is kind of reinventing yourself too, right? You gotta add some layers to your game.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Yeah, no, hey, you won't get an argument from me that, Raphael Lavoie has more upside than Ernie. That's not even a conversation. I don't think anybody's going to say that. I'm just trying to rationalize what their thought process is here. And you look at, they suddenly have a lot of right shots. Sam Gagner's a right shot. Brown's a right shot. Lavoie's a right shot. I think Hyman's a right. They got a lot of right shots. And none of them are really center options, right? It's funny enough. They would love a right-hand center. So to me, if I'm crunching the numbers, it just seems like maybe something's off there and there might be another move coming for sure. And guys, does this open up space for Patrick Kane? That would be great, though. Are you kidding me? That would be fantastic. But I don't see it. God, I would love to be wrong in that. Patrick Kane is one of the more exciting players I've ever watched.
Oh,
he would be unbelievable. But
who's in the market for him?
Carolina, Florida. I think he's going to go out east. I get it. He's 34, turns 35 later this month, which, by the way, no, it wouldn't matter because he's 35 before the end of the calendar year. So he now he can get a bonus laden contract. So keep that in mind, right? That's something to right. He'd also buy out everything to age him and stuff like that. But I could see a 1-year deal.
Could you imagine what people would think of Ken Holland if he pulled that off?
Yeah.
Back on that bus.
Yeah, I got to think there's another move coming today for the Oilers. So just a note on that. We'll see who it is. Lane Peterson, I think, is back playing. Maybe it's him. We'll see. They do have James Hamlin here as a center, so maybe not. Find out. Not a huge one, but every roster spot matters at different times. No question about it. Hey guys, what about putting Holloway on LTR? Does that open up space to bring up anybody else? Well, the Oilers don't have anybody in the minors who makes a lot of money other than Jack Campbell, right? So I don't see that. Now, Holloway going on LTIR, if they put Lavoie down and they recall somebody else up, and Browns, who's never not been on the roster, comes off, the Oilers, the only benefit of putting Holloway on LTIR is you can have an extra body around, right? So you have somebody in the press box. That's the only benefit. The negative of putting Holloway on LTR right now is the small amount of cap space that they are accruing every day goes away. So that's kind of where they're at. I think you would put a player on LTR if you needed the money. Otherwise, for the Oilers right now, every little dollar, I know they're only, I think I crunched the numbers and sent an email. I think they're at 22,000 a day, which it's, they're accruing 22,000, which isn't a lot, but every dollar adds up, right? It adds up over time. So if you don't need to do it, you don't have to. So, hey guys, what about signing Phil the Thrill? I guess that's an option.
Forgot about him.
right?
Yeah. He can score.
He hasn't scored the last few years. Like are you getting the Phil Kessel that people remember when he was a big time player with Pittsburgh, or are you getting Phil Kessel, who's a healthy scratch in the playoffs for Vegas? Right now, he did score 14 goals last year. Nothing. If you're going to sign him to a league minimum and he gets, he's a 14 goal scorer, yeah, sure. But when you look at the Oilers left wing with Foegele and Kane and Nugent Hopkins, well, sorry, Phil's the right shot. What am I saying? So, I look at the right side now. Well, would you look and say, hey, I think Phil can score more than Sam Gagner? That's probably a fair assumption.
Could you have both?
Yeah, like you got Phil, you got Gagner, you got Ryan. Probably not. You don't need them all, right?
Yeah.
So,
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
When do you think Calvin Pickard will get in that?
It's funny. I asked that question to the head coach today, and all he says he's going to talk to Schwartz. I'm looking at their schedule. Stuart Skinner's a young guy. He didn't play. They split duties for the first 12. Skinner has now started 3 games in a row. I assume he's going to start tomorrow. I could be wrong. Like if there was a game I would start him, it would be tomorrow. That's the one game I'd go, because then I could go with Skinner in Tampa, Skinner in Florida, Skinner in Carolina. No problem. I think tomorrow is a time you could do it if you're on, because they're the weakest opponent. It's a team that you beat for fun.
Yeah, you can't take anything for granted right now. There's no way I'm going with Skinner all the way.
So when are you starting him then?
I don't think I'm worried about the team that he plays against. I think with Stuart Skinner playing the way he's playing right now, and the first time they've put back-to-back wins, and there's no guarantee in the next game, Skinner's got the net. I wouldn't worry whether he's playing against Tampa Bay or Carolina if I was going to put Calvin in that.
Okay.
That wouldn't play a factor. If anything, that could be motivation for guys. I hear nothing but good things about, the way he carries himself and what a teammate he is. That could be a rallying point.
No. So. Yeah, well, that's fair. So then you'd put Skinner in tomorrow, which I agree with that.
Well, Skinner's riding this out.
Yeah. So then he's riding out till when? So is it Tampa Bay? Is he riding out till he loses? What if they lose 2-1?
Yeah.
So when are you starting him? Tampa on Saturday. You got Florida. You got Carolina on Monday, Wednesday. And then you have Washington on the following Friday after, and it's an afternoon game. Maybe that's when you do it.
I'm giving him a couple games for sure.
A couple?
Yeah.
Like in the next 5?
Yeah.
Really? See, I would think Skinner. I think you can get him 1 in the next 5. And I think it might be the Washington one. I think Skinner. Now, and unless he has a real off night, I think we'll see Skinner Seattle. I think we'll see him in Tampa, Florida, Carolina, and then against Washington in the afternoon game is when you go with Calvin Pickard.
I was impressed with Skinner yesterday. The fact that he let that early goal in and the way he bounced back and the saves that he made, I think he's going to, this is his little bump right here. I think he's going to run here.
Okay, there you go. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by BIE Engineering, specializing in all your residential, commercial, and industrial structural engineering needs. BIEENG.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Police in England say they placed a man in custody this week who had a connection to the death of ex-NHL player Adam Johnson. According to the South Yorkshire Police, the man was arrested on suspicion of manslaughter earlier today, 17 days after Johnson tragically died from injuries he suffered when Matt Petgrave's skate slashed him in the neck during a game. In announcing the arrest, the authorities did not say if Petgrave was the man they had in custody. Forward Rafael Lavoie has been loaned to the Bakersfield Condors in 5 games with the Oil. He went pointless, averaging just under 8 minutes per game. The team also having forward Leon Draisaitl fined $5,000 for a dangerous trip on New York Islanders center Bo Horvat. Draisaitl received a 2-minute minor for the trip on Horvat in the second period of the Oilers' 4-1 victory on Monday night. In the NHL tonight, you've got the Sabres taking on the Bruins. The Flames head to Montreal. Caps battle the Golden Knights. The Penguins are in Columbus. Blues up against the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Ducks head to Nashville. Stars host the Coyotes. Devils take on the Jets. And it's the Sharks hosting the Panthers. That one gets going at 8:30. In the association, the in-season tournament continues. The Heat will travel to Charlotte to take on the Hornets. Pistons host the Hawks. Pacers in Philly. Spurs up against the Thunder. Jazz host the Trailblazers. The Timberwolves take on the Warriors. And Lakers hosting the 2-8 Memphis Grizzlies. From the NFL, the Buffalo Bills have fired offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey. The move came a day after the 24-22 loss to the Denver Broncos. Second-year quarterbacks coach Joe Brady will take on an interim basis. And in the AJ2 games tonight, Drayton Valley hosting Olds and Calgary's in Okotoks. Both those ones will start at 7. Coming up in Hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, another chance to help your neighbor. We'll be joined by Jason Strudwick and ask 5 questions. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Thinking about solar power? Action Electrical wants to eliminate your entire home or business power bill and keep more cash in your pocket. With effective paybacks in 5 to 9 years, give solar a chance with Action and put your lazy roof to work. Alberta is the second highest province for the amount of full sunlight hours, and with system life exceeding 25 years, solar power is like a McDavid draft pick. Still have questions about solar power? Contact the professionals at actionelectrical.net today. That's actionelectrical.net.
This is a commercial for Corporate Business Solutions. Corporate Business Solutions, aka CBS. That's also known as CBS. As I was saying, Corporate Business Solutions empowers any business to become more efficient and profitable with office machine technology that really works. That's why they're the #1 Konica Minolta authorized dealer in all of Western Canada. Well, why don't you just read the next line? Sure. Corporate Business Solutions. Local service, local support, local always. Visit cbsca.com.
Your furnace is broken. Legacy Heating and Cooling will give it a good talking to and make it smarten its act up right now.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
If your furnace is disobedient and refuses to heat.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
If you just want some peace of mind this winter.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Plus, Legacy never charges overtime rates. Always call Legacy Heating and Cooling.
A solid financial plan is made up of more than just investments. Investments are an important part, but you need a more comprehensive approach. Andy Akel at Weird Pearson Akel & Associates Private Wealth Management understands that. He can help build a plan that includes retirement, estate planning, personal insurance, tax strategies, and yes, investments. Talk to him today and see the difference a real financial plan makes. Weird Pearson Akel & Associates. Call 780-988-4119 or visit weirdadvisoryteam.com.
When basketball legend Shaquille O'Neal joined the team at Papa John's, he brought some big ideas, but his biggest idea is the Shaq-a-Roni pizza. It's a massive pizza designed to feed big appetites and make a big impact. It comes with 8 foldable Shaq-sized slices, loaded with extra cheese and extra pepperonis. But what makes it really big is that for every Shaq-a-Roni sold through December 31st, 2023, Papa John's donates $1 to Second Harvest to provide 3 healthy meals to people and agencies in need. The Shaq-a-Roni is bigger than pizza. Get yours today for only $21.99, only at Papa John's.
Winter weather is hard on your vehicle. Help keep it in top shape with Pennzoil Ultra Motor Oil from Jiffy Lube. Oil changes on your schedule and 25 bonus air miles with your Shell Go Plus app. Jiffy Lube, keeping you moving.
Being on this road together means saving twice during the Fountain Tire Road Ready sales event. Save up to $225 on a set of 4 select tires. Plus, get a bonus $50 off any service until December 16th. Book your appointment at fountaintire.com. Restrictions apply. Financing available. Ugh, fine print.
Denim Ford's roots run deep in the history of Central Alberta. Like always, you can experience the same honest pricing and honest service that you've come to expect from all of us at Denim Ford for the past 65 years. Denim Ford is proud to be Canada's only 50-time President Award-winning dealership in customer satisfaction, treating every customer like family. Visit Denim Ford on the world-famous Wetaskiwin Auto Mile or from home at denimford.ca.
Ours cost less than Wetaskiwin.
On December 2nd, imagine a chic carnival party, a masquerade ball with Mardi Gras flair, dancing to enticing music, watching some of the best dancers in the country. You can experience it all and so much more at Festiva, a premier one-of-a-kind Latin and ballroom event. Fun is
guaranteed.
Entertainment is
generous.
Right here in Edmonton. Reserve your spot at festivadance.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. They've continued developing tools and are excited to announce their newest design, battery-powered nut runners. 4 models from 500 to 3,000 foot-pounds with more on the way. Learn more at cantork.com.
Just after 4 o'clock. How are you? Jason Gregor Show. Sports 1440, Orders Nation YouTube. And by playalberta.ca. Jason Gregor, Shan Brown with you. Texter Dave says, hey, guys, I noticed Bakerfield's playing in Calgary tonight. Could they just be sending Lavoie down to play and then bring him back up tomorrow? Well, Dave, they could. You're right. It is 3-3, though, Brownie. So I have to ask you. Now, I don't think any young player is going to be upset. He played 8 minutes last night. Right? So you send him on a plane, get into Calgary tonight, play for the Condors. Then we'll fly you back home after the game, home being Edmonton, and you can play in Edmonton tomorrow. Would that be unfair to a player to go 3-3 with one game in between in the AHL? Go NHL game, AHL game, NHL game. What do you think?
Not at all. Not for a young guy. I mean, that's a great scenario. That would be the best of both worlds for him. Could you imagine going down to the American Hockey League and being able to, dominate, have some success, and then be back in Edmonton with the big club? I think that's if that's the scenario that is about to happen, that's a great scenario for him. Especially I know what it's like to come from the best league in the world to the American Hockey League, and the American Hockey League is a great league, but when you come down there from the NHL, it's so much slower.
Yeah.
Right. And so that'd be great for him to go down there and just get some puck touches, get some feel good about himself, and then get right back here.
Yeah, who doesn't like to play? And, you're Raphael Lavoie. So I'm coming back. I get to go down there and play. I'm going to touch the puck lots, play 20 minutes. Yeah, that would be fun.
It's a win-win for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting. So, yes, very good. Now, you know what also is very good? Help your neighbor. Courtesy of Legacy Heating and Cooling, where next Monday, somebody is going to win a brand new high-efficiency furnace from Legacy Heating and Cooling. We have 4 days left to qualify. It's very easy to qualify. We're going to do it right now. Now, if you get into qualify today, you automatically get to one of the unique Sports 1440 hats. Very popular. The winners, they win the next day. They're coming to pick it up. They love the hats. So you get that automatically. Then you'll go into the draw. Now, there's 2 draws, technically. The first, there's 1 draw, but there's 2 winners. The draw will be Monday. If your name is drawn, you will win tickets to the Oilers Wild game on Friday, December 8th. You also get an installed Google Nest or Ecobee Smart Thermostat at your home, courtesy of Legacy Heating and Cooling. And then you will be able to gift a brand new high-efficiency furnace. Permit inspection fees are covered. They'll remove and dispose of the old furnace. Comes with a Honeywell T4 thermostat. It is a Goodman 96+% Energy Star high-efficiency gas furnace. Comes 5-year labor, 10-year parts, the lifetime heat exchanger warranty. Package that, between your package and that one, we're talking close to $8,000. Pretty awesome. So Brown is shaking his head like, geez, I'd like to win this prize. Too bad you work here. You can't win it.
Yeah, you're teasing me because I need a furnace right now. That's why I'm looking at you. I'm like, do you realize I need a furnace right now? Do I have any friends out there?
Oh, yeah, you do. I know you need one. Yeah. I got to gift it to Shan Brown. Sorry, not allowed. Not allowed, but I do like it. So today, very easy again to qualify. Put your name on the text. You're going to text it to 833-401-1440. Your name and the code word today. Code word today, positive. All right, because this is a positive thing. You're going to be gifting someone a very big prize. Maybe make a big difference in their life. They're going paycheck to paycheck. It's a real tough time. Single dad, single mom. You know what? Maybe seniors on a real limited budget, and they need a new furnace. You're going to help them out. So your name, the code word today is positive. Spell it correctly. It's the only thing. Spell it correctly, and then Con Man will go through it. I know that's not the official sound that it makes, but Con Man goes through the text machine and then randomly picks a winner. All right. So there you go. We'll get to all that. We got a lot of texts coming in. Hey, Brownie, I'm curious your thoughts on the Oilers. They played better. You mentioned Stuart Skinner. with goalies you played with, what comes first? The confidence the goalie gains by good defense, or the defense gains confidence by having a steady goaltender?
That's a great question. They kind of go hand in hand. I think, I guess I can't really speak for a goalie. I know as a defenseman, I wasn't so much worried about other guys and their responsibilities and their jobs as much as I was worried about my responsibility and what I need to do to be successful, which allowed them to be successful. And it all kind of is intertwined. Confidence is, it's a hard thing. It's really hard to get. It's hard to keep, easy to lose. Your confidence, to be honest with you, I guess for me comes with your habits and your practice habits and your off ice habits. It always, comes back to that when you're feeling a little unsure in your game. I was always, and I think Gregor touched on it earlier, and that's one of the, I don't know if it was Gregor or where I heard it, but one of the things McDavid was doing through his little struggle here was spending time on the ice with Holloway, and look at the result he got. Last night he got, 2 points? I've never seen a player that puts in more work and more time and not get rewarded for it in a practice setting.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Right.
Yeah.
And I just got a text. Lavoie's not going to be playing in Bakersfield tonight. In Calgary for Bakersfield. So I can confirm that won't be happening. So our theory of 3-3, that's out the window, Brownie. So another move is coming. This just might be a paper shuffle to save cap space for a day, right? Which you can do. Teams do it. So we'll see how it goes. But there is something else coming. Is all I know. Try to figure it out. People asking, is Janmark ready? No, Janmark's not ready. So if Brown's ready, that's 11 forwards, right? Lavoie would then be 12. You could just do the paper transaction, save cap space for a day, and every day helps. Although, do they get away with it because Bakersfield's in Calgary? That's what I'm wondering here. Because usually if you send a guy down, he technically has to, you can't just have him sit there. Now, I think because of the timing of it, after 3:00 now, that he doesn't have to be on a plane till tomorrow, and then you could recall him. I think there is some new rules in there that you can manipulate it a little bit if you want, right? Well, what sucks for the player is for that one day he gets an American League salary instead of an NHL salary, right? So it sucks for the player. Teams don't do this all the time, but every little dollar, it just shows you how tight they are to the cap, that every little dollar matters.
You remember Josh Green? I remember he was in that situation when he was in Vancouver. He was up and down, and because of the cap, and it was a tough season. I remember talking to him, and it was a tough season because, number one, he wasn't able to get any traction when you get, that type of movement. Number two, it's hard to make any money too, NHL money, because you're kind of up and down, and so maybe that could be a situation that Lavoie's kind of in too, where, with the cap and how tight they are to it, makes things a little bit complicated.
Let's take a quick break. We'll return. We will get to our winner for Help Your Neighbor, and then Struddy will join us. He's having lots of laughs right now online at my expense. I think he's a real funny guy. So we'll talk about that and more on Edmonton Sports Leader, Sports 1440.
Looking to tackle your backyard projects with power and precision this fall? Look no further than Kubota compact tractors. Experience the perfect blend of compact size and unbeatable value with Kubota. Right now, take advantage of financing as low as 0% for up to 84 months and save up to $1,500 on select models. Plus, as the temperature drops, get ready for Alberta winters with confidence with Kubota Performance Match snowblowers, sweeper, and blades. Visit Edmonton Kubota today for details.
Your furnace is dead. It's time to replace it before winter crushes you. Legacy Heating and Cooling is practically there already. Yeah, we're working in your basement, doing a replacement. stretch. The work is so earnestly building your legacy. With no payments and no interest for 1 year, you gotta call Legacy. Replacing your dying furnace before it's too late, that's how you build your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Trevor is lonely.
Yeah.
So Trevor threw a big party and served salad.
Nobody came.
Mike is also lonely.
Yeah, it sucks, man.
So Mike threw a big party and served Will Hawk beef jerky.
Go Will Hawk! Go Will Hawk! Everybody came!
Will Hawk beef jerky. Because you don't win friends with salad.
Will Hawk is the home of Alberta's best beef jerky.
In Leduc, Spruce Grove, and West Edmonton Mall.
What's better than getting a delicious McMuffin and a medium premium roast coffee? Getting a delicious McMuffin and a medium premium roast coffee for only $4 plus tax. It's your favorite McDonald's breakfast for less. What's better than that? For a limited time at participating McDonald's in Canada, prices exclude delivery.
Are you ready to light up your game like Edmonton lights up the ice? Then choose Ewell. Electrical Wholesalers Edmonton Limited offers lightning fast service. Just like your favorite forward, they deliver your electrical supplies in record time.
Plus winning quality. They only stock the best.
And don't forget about their all-star support. When it comes to customer service, they're the playmakers.
So don't sit in the dark. Make the power play and visit Ewell today. Online at ewel.ca, where excellence in electrical meets the heart of hockey.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada with sports and entertainment properties including the Alberta Junior Hockey League, Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, and the Hockey Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. A new state-of-the-art entertainment center is set to open in Nisku, which will feature 2 sheets of ice, including a 1,600-seat arena and restaurant with a viewing area. Since 1987, Ram Elevators and Lifts has been raising the bar and more by manufacturing superior elevators for both residential and low-rise commercial buildings. What drives them? A vision of accessibility, because they know that an elevator or lift is more than just a mechanical device. It's the freedom to go where you want. Ram's North American-made elevators, starting as low as $32,900, are rated as the best residential elevators by Forbes magazine. Grounded simplicity, elevated design. Click on trustram.com.
The Taboo, everything to do with sex show, is coming back to Edmonton this weekend. It's Edmonton's sexiest all-inclusive adult party. If you've never been to the Taboo show, you don't know what you're missing. Introducing Glow Friday and Masquerade Saturday. Taboo has something for everyone. It's all about feeling sexy. Bring your sweetheart, your friends, or come alone. Grab a drink, walk around and enjoy non-stop stage entertainment, shopping, and seminars. Bad Dragon presents The Taboo Show this weekend at the Expo Center in Edmonton. Visit tabooshow.com.
They say there ain't no I in team, and maybe so, but a K has a nice ring to it. In fact, 10K is how we roll at the Canadian Brewhouse. The CBH offers a teams and leagues program with a chance at free offers and exclusive deals. Plus, book your fundraising event at our house, and you'll automatically be entered to win $10,000 for your group. Whatever your sport choice, we hope to put 10K in your team, if you know what I mean. Sign up today at thecanadianbrewhouse.com.
No matter where your potential customers live, no matter what they watch, read, or listen to, you need a marketing plan that connects with them. Let the marketing experts at Stingray Media Solutions create a turnkey advertising strategy for your business, including radio and TV and out-of-home advertising, social and search ads, plus the creative and production. Find out the most cost-effective ways to reach your target audience and grow your business. Get started now at stingraymediasolutions.com.
Number 23, happy Tuesday to you. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Shan Brown with you. And we have a qualifier. Connor Halley, who is our winner today?
Today, our qualifier is Mark.
Mark, congratulations. You're in. You have qualified. You automatically win the Sports 1440 hat. How you doing?
I'm very good. Thank you for qualifying me.
Hey, it's no problem. Thanks for listening. Thanks for calling in. So next Monday, we'll do the draw. And if your name's called, you're going to win the Nominator Prize, which is the Oilers Wild tickets on Friday, December 8th. You will then get the Google Nest or Ecobee Smart Thermostat, all installed courtesy of Legacy Heating. And most importantly, you will then have the opportunity to give away a brand new high-efficiency furnace to someone in your circle. Now, they can't live with you, so you can't give it essentially to your spouse or your partner. That doesn't work. It has to be somebody who owns their own home, resides within 100 kilometers of Edmonton, and doesn't live with you. Okay? That's the only rules. Do you have anybody on the top of your head that you think needs a furnace?
Oh, I have one. It's my brother-in-law. He is a single dad with a 6 and a 7-year-old, and he's starting right from scratch. He could use that furnace. He lives in an older home. It would be a blessing for him.
All right. Well, there you go, Mark. Sounds like a good contestant. I'd say, hey, we love it. Well, stay on the line. Connor will get all your information. And next Monday in the 4:00 hour, if your name's called, you win and your brother-in-law will win.
Thank you very much again.
There you go. So we will, single dad, man. Hey, shout out to all the single dads out there. It's, you know what? It's awesome that you're doing that. Hey, single moms too, I know, but we're talking single dads here. And at times, maybe don't get enough credit. It's a single parent. Any single parent's a really hard job. Heck, being a parent when you're two of you and you're playing man to man or zone, it's tough. But man, doing it on your own, that is difficult, man.
Very hard. I don't know how you do it. I would give that guy the furnace right there. He's
Yeah.
pulling on my heartstrings.
Yeah, 100%. It's tough. So there you go. Let's get to Struds on now. Brought to you by Action Electrical. Family-run business for over 50 years, and residential, solar. They got it, residential and commercial solar. If you're looking, there's all sorts of rebates you can get through the federal government. They can help you out, save you lots of cash. Go to actionelectrical.net. Struddy joins us now. Struddy, how you doing?
Great, buddy. I'm absolutely great. And you know why.
Oh, God.
You know why, big guy.
Struddy's just loving it when the focus of bad hair is on someone other than himself.
You know what the funniest part is? That I remember one time we said, you know what, Greg, why don't you grow hair out for charity? Well, we can cut it off. It can be like the pink hair massacre. No, I don't want to do that. And then you just do it on your own for really no reason.
That's so
and
stupid.
I
know.
love it. I love it. The Oilers are doing their part of it. They're 2-0 with the Friar Tuck era of the Jason Gregor life.
Oh, hey, you know what the good news is? Conman gave me an out. If the Oilers win 5 in a row, I only have to do it for 3 months. So trust me, I am counting because in Connor's words, they got me in it. They should be able to get me out of it. So that's nice. That's nice.
Hey, Struddy, with the recent hiring, I've actually did a little bit of work with Chris with Hockey Canada, and I thought he was an outstanding coach. And from what I hear with everyone in hockey, he's the next up and coming coach. Do you feel that he's in a position and ready to hold these guys to a standard that they need to be held to?
Well, we're going to find out, right? I mean, I think that going in, I'm sure there would have been a conversation about that, about what his approach to, making sure players kind of toe the line and do what's required. When you see him interviewed and hear the way he speaks, he's different than other coaches we've had here. And not that they were bad or that he's good or he's bad and the other guys were good. He's just different. He's kind of just very understated. And when he's talking, though, you kind of want to lean forward and what is he saying? He's just very relaxing. So I think he's so far, he seems to be a very calm presence in that room. So, it's nice to have that dynamic. And then you also have to have the dynamic where you can just say, okay, these are repeated mistakes you're making. You're going to sit. This is why. You don't have to yell and scream at guys. It's embarrassing getting sat. It is absolutely embarrassing. Almost every hockey player on the planet has been sat at some point. So when you get sat, you are embarrassed and pissed off. So you don't have to yell at them. You just say, this is why. And then you hope they get the message, right? And then it changes their belief. But I would be blown away if the the management trust of the Edmonton Oilers didn't come together and say, where are you at with this? Because it feels like we probably need this to get to another level as a group.
Paul Coffey as a defenseman, Struddy, some people like, man, he's the only coach 1 year. What's he going to be able to bring? What's your thoughts on what he can add as an assistant coach running the blue line?
Well, I was at the game last night. I was kind of watching his interaction with the D-man, and I always felt that I didn't want to come off the ice and have someone in my ear every time, because you can do a good play or a bad play pretty much every shift, right? It can happen. So come to me when it's like something that's kind of coming up a number of times, or it's happening to other guys a number of times on your team. For instance, hey, you got to watch for whatever. Wayne Gretzky, he's stretching behind you and he's getting behind you. Okay, thanks for that information. But there are sometimes you just want to come over and say, hey, man, this is what I see, or why don't you try doing it this way, or take a look at this, or what did you see in that play? But not every time. It seemed like Coffey was kind of doing it that way. I was surprised that he got the job because of his lack of coaching experience. Understanding, there's a lot of things to understand when you're a coach, as far as, how do you, massage players' egos? How do you, prepare to break down video, getting ready for whatever it is, whatever you want to show the guy, the power play, the penalty kill, or individual play. Just knowing when to push guys, when to hug them, how much work to do with them before or after practice. Like, all those things come together. But if I was on that team and Paul Coffey was my team and coach, I would be giving him benefit of the doubt more often than not because of what he's done and what he's accomplished, right? So everyone's saying, well, Bouchard's going to benefit so much from him. There is no doubt that it feels like Bouchard, the guy, will be it. But when you sit back and if you're Vinny Darnay, I mean, can you not pick that guy's brain or can he not support you in ways to make the game easier for yourself, angles you take to the puck, when you move the puck, moving it quicker, all those types of things. Like, Paul played a long time with a ton of different players and had a ton of success. So he'd be a wealth of knowledge. So the challenge for the D and Coffey is going to be able to figure that out quickly, and for Coff to figure out how the best way to support these guys is, and for those guys to understand how to use his knowledge that's there and unlock it. Because so far in his life, Coffey hasn't unlocked it as a coach. It's one thing to be a skill coach. It's another thing to do it, second by second on the bench or during the course of a season, guys.
Jason Stradwick joins us. And you know what? It's interesting because Matthias Ekholm talked, and I'm sure if you were watching the game last night, Struddy, you noticed like Paul Coffey is like with Vincent Desharnais and Ekholm, lots of different guys coming off the ice. He would talk to them. Now, Ekholm mentioned how some guys like that instant feedback. He says, I love it. Other players are like, don't talk to me. Tell me about it after the game. Right. And so part of that as a coach is even learning which guy likes it, which guy doesn't like it. Right. So, that's probably falls into your category of unlocking what works, because what works for Ekholm as far as when to communicate might not work for Bouchard or Desharnais.
Well, you got to figure it out, right? You got to sit down and figure out with your players what works and what doesn't work. And everyone's different. Every player's different. I can speak for myself that when I was challenged, and coaches would kind of give it to me or whatever, I would get really mad, and I'd rise up usually, and they knew it. So they'd stir me up and say, oh, look at that Shan Brown's running around over there. Oh, you're going to let that guy run around all night? And I'd be like, what? What number is he? What number? I'd get all fired up, right? And that's kind of how I operated. So you're trying to figure out because not everyone responds to that. Some other guys want hugs. Some other guys want to feel a different way. So for me, it's going to be really how quickly they can both figure out both sides and how to make this happen.
What about like the message of, it's another coach gone, right? Some players mentioned, hey, there's some guilt in the room. We can talk about the new coach bump. I think there can be the old coach guilt for this team, Struddy. And I've said it to me that if there was one thing that Jay Woodcroft maybe didn't do, because he did a lot of things right. The one thing was, and the Vancouver one's the easiest example because everybody remembers it, right? Bouchard, bad pinch, didn't do what you'd want on the back check, and nothing occurred. And so, that wouldn't be the first time that there was an errant defensive play. And when you see rookie coaches like Ryan Huska, Vincent Pascal, they're sitting down Huberdeau's and they're sitting down Goudreau's, like the lack of, and I shouldn't say lack of, but there wasn't, a lot of accountability there. How much is that as on the coach? But then how much is just on the players? Like Shan Brown talked about it earlier about eventually these players got to be accountable to each other. Does this push that lever even down more that the players got to hold each other accountable? Or do you think Knoblauch's going to have to be the guy who comes down even harder, him and Coffey?
I think everyone's going to have their own approach. Every coach can have their own approach. But let's be honest, I don't feel that Jay Woodcroft was, he was really deserving of being fired.
Yeah,
Right?
agreed.
I think the players have to take some of this on themselves. It's not just them. It's also, the individuals within the group have to take it on. So, they as players have to reevaluate where they're at and what they're asking of each other and what they're demanding of each other. So I think there's nothing stronger than accountability within a group when you are pushing each other and demanding more of each other. And it's hard. It's hard sometimes to lean over and be like, hey, you know what, Brownie, that's not good enough, man. We need you to work harder, or we need you to do this or do that, or you know what, I don't like your attitude. We don't want to see you moping around out here or whatever. Like, it's to challenge each other, and you always hear it when teams win Stanley Cup. The coach will never be like, "Oh man, you must be such a good coach." He's like, you know what? The players took over the dressing room. That's what that means, because now they're policing themselves, and it's not yelling or getting into fights all the time, but it's challenging each other to hit another level. And it's hard to do, but once you get it and do it in the right way, you really see a team take off.
I remember actually getting traded to Boston there, and I was excited. I got into the lineup. Typical me, take three. I think I took almost 3 minor penalties in a row. And I came in the second period, and Billy Guerin was just like, Brownie, and just was like, pump the brakes, relax, chill out. But you're absolutely right. The best dress rooms are the guys that hold themselves accountable. Going back to Coffey, is there anything that concerns you with his previous role in being where he's at now and being in a situation where, as an assistant coach, he's kind of the buffer guy, the guy that sometimes maybe you don't want to talk to the head coach, and you feel a little bit more comfortable talking to the assistant coach about maybe your role or some things you can do different or better? Is there any concerns with Coffey being on the bench? I don't know how long he's going to be there, but are there any concerns with it that you see in that?
So the reason there are assistant coaches, because as a player, you don't always feel comfortable going to talk to your head coach. You're not going to go and say, you know what, I don't like the way you're using me here or not using me. Usually the assistant coach is the buffer. So you go to the buffer, and I had different guys, Jack McElhardy, I really liked him, Perry Perrin, very well known here. And I would go talk to him, not all the time, but every now and then I'd talk to him and say, hey man, like, what is this guy doing? Like, why am I not getting this? Or why am I being this? Or whatever's happening. And you always felt at least I felt it was understood that was a private conversation that was going to stay within the discussion of the assistant coach and the head coach. With Coffey, it's a little bit different because he got other roles within the team. So I think for Coffey, if I were him, I'd come in and say, guys, whatever you say to me is going to stay to me, and he's got to develop the trust. Now it's great to say that, but you have to live up to it. And I'm not suggesting he won't, but once guys believe in you, if you break that trust and something happens because something you said, you lose complete trust and you lose that group of players. So I believe that Paul Coffey has to go and talk to the 6 D-men, and I by extension the forwards, but I think more the D-men, and just say, hey, I know that I have a unique role here, but I am here for you. And when we talk, it's going to stay with he and I, or between you and I. But listen, he played on championship caliber teams. He understands that. So I take him at his word, and he says, when he at the press conference, what he said, and he spoke about that. I know him a little bit too, and he seems like a really great, straight up guy. So I'll take him at his word, but I think there has to be a discussion with that, because that is really sacred. I think the people you speak to the most as a player would be the assistant coach and then the trainer. I mean, you would just pour your heart out to the trainer, and the trainer knew everything, right? Usually they knew if trades were going to happen or who hated who or who was going to divorce their wife way before anyone else, because they are like the clearinghouse of information on that team.
Your Christmas tree put up today, Struds?
Oh, yeah. I never do it before Thanksgiving, before the Remembrance Day, out of respect for our veterans and how they continue to support us. But once it's done, I got to get it up there. So we had a couple days off of school, so I got it up, and not looking too shabby. It's the first year I've kind of done it myself. My wife was busy. It was just my daughter and I kind of putting this thing together. And I'm out of a 10. It's probably a solid 7.8.
When do you take it down?
Oh, we're going deep. I got to get at least 2 months. So
what?
Probably before the kids go back to school. So that's not quite. I guess
like
that's
January 8th.
Probably, yeah. Well, it's about life, right? So, like now we had a break, and then, the next 6 weeks are going to be a blur with,
the
kid and all the stuff. And then hopefully around that last little chunk of time before the kids go back to school, I'll take it down. But I love it, but I lit up a Christmas candle, had my 4.5 hour Christmas playlist going. Christmas tunes is what I call it, a pretty unique name. But I'm loving it, buddy. I just love the whole thing, the spirit.
Yeah, well, no, there's nothing wrong with that. It's a pretty long time with the. Do you have stockings hung?
We haven't done that, and to be fair, I haven't put up my blow up dolls yet. I won't put those up until I have it all marked out. I have everything staked out, but I won't put them out until we have till December or we get snow, whichever comes first.
Now, how many blow up dolls do you have this year?
But I love the blow up dolls. I got a 12-footer. It is unbelievable. This thing is the king of the jungle. I put it up. And then I've got a couple little 4-footers, those stinkers for, something for everybody. Greg, I like to make sure everyone gets their beak wet.
I'm well aware. The terminology, Brownie is not aware of your Christmas ornament terminology. So his eyes almost bugged out of his head when we mentioned
we got a show.
Yeah, exactly. So Struddy's got different. Now, is it a Santa Claus one this year? Did you get a Mrs. Claus?
No Mrs. Claus. No, I have a big 12-footer. I have 2 Santa Claus. Actually, I found one. I didn't realize I had this one, so I might put this one up in the back, right? You want to spread them out. You want to just spread the good cheer. But it's such a weird year. Like, usually there's snow on the ground.
Yeah,
right?
I know.
So now, I don't know. I mean, I'm not complaining. It's been kind of nice. But, yeah, I'll get a picture of those. Once I get them, I'll send you a picture, Brownie. Kind of like your unique approach to handing out chips at Halloween.
Yeah, that was amazing. Hey, oh, geez, look at us. We have chips. No one else has chips at Christmas except at the Brown household.
I took a lot of heat when I got home. My wife was so
different. So different. I have people now ask them to say trick or treat when they come to my door. It's life changing. Completely changed the whole game, Brownie. It's incredible.
Oh, it's amazing stuff. That was awesome. That was very Struds on-esque. I quite liked it. So it's good. So hey, one final one. We were sitting in the press lounge the other day, and people were wondering who's going to have a comb over first, Rashog or Struds?
Oh man, no. I should. I would say, as my buddy Jason Holland said, the snow is melting off the rooftop for Shogger, and I didn't realize right where it's at. And I feel pretty good about where my regression stopped. I fully admit I won't have a monkey bump. They'll just pull back before that happens. But yeah, Shogger, oh man, he's gonna have to lean way back.
Struddy, you know what? Did you watch the Hall of Fame induction last night? Did you see any of this? Did you see any of the speeches? Because as I was watching it, I'm like, I want Struddy to try to rock the Barrasso. That was unbelievable.
I saw.
Like I think you could pull it off. Like that thing was tight and firm. It was like a speed bump at the back, man. You couldn't get anything by it. Man, unbelievable.
But can you imagine you have to go in at that group and Henrik Lundqvist, a model, is standing beside you? I mean, that is just a brutal. Like, it's great to go in with them, but I mean, that's as far as looks goes. That's anyone looks like a 5 next to that guy.
Yeah, I know he is a good looking guy. There's no question about it. So dresses well too. Now he's got his own cologne, Struddy. Are you gonna get a bottle of it?
You know what? He wasn't very kind to me when he talked about the way I dress. So I'm not sure I'm going to support him with his cologne. Like, there's one thing, I got a little cologne myself I like to use.
Oh, yeah?
Not
is it like Old Spice? Brute
Noir, buddy.
Jacquard Noir. I thought it was Brute 33, actually.
It keeps the bugs away in the summer.
Struddy's like, hey, guys, have you ever heard of Aqua Velva?
It keeps the bugs and the ladies away.
Yeah, it's very true. Struddy, we will talk to you next Tuesday. Have a good one.
Buddy, keep it going. You're a real Edmonton treasure. You're going out to help the Oilers win. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, let's be clear. I'm not doing it to make the Oilers win, but it's because they couldn't win. Gosh, the worst. So we'll take a quick break. We'll come back with 5 questions and more on the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440 live on Oilers Nation YouTube.
Looking to tackle your backyard projects with power and precision this fall? Look no further than Kubota compact tractors. Experience the perfect blend of compact size and unbeatable value with Kubota. Right now, take advantage of financing as low as 0% for up to 84 months and save up to $1,500 on select models. Plus, as the temperature drops, get ready for Alberta winters with confidence with Kubota Performance Match snowblowers, sweeper, and blades. Visit Edmonton Kubota today for details.
How do we do it? Well, at Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we invest. Our money and time goes right back into technology and training, and it's all designed to get you back into shape. We invest in people, the people who really care, and they understand how your body works. Then they combine their experience, training, and skills to work with you to help you solve your issues, be it pain in the back, neck, arm, shoulder, heel, literally head to toe. Leading Edge Physiotherapy, always taking new patients because we keep fixing the old ones. Life shouldn't hurt. Find us at leadingedgephysio.com.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
Hey everyone, it's Kelly here from United Sport and Cycle. Christmas is just around the corner, and we've got everything for the athlete and sports fan on your list, including United gift cards. United Sport and Cycle, your Santa's workshop for over 95 years.
You know, I got into reffing for the excitement.
He's going for the chair!
Turns out wrestling is completely scripted. But you know what's exciting and unscripted? PlayAlberta.ca. With an all-new sports book, odds boosts, and betting on any game.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today with promo code SPORTS50 and get a $50 free bet. Official gaming partner of the Edmonton Oilers. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
Order the juice, get the points. Now at Booster Juice, it's rewarding to be loyal. Introducing the Booster Rewards app, the reward program to give you a boost. Order on the app and enjoy 1 berry point for every dollar you spend. Redeem it for tasty Booster Juice treats, like your favorite smoothie, a Booster Ball, grilled fresh wraps and paninis, and cool Booster Juice merch. And with the Booster Rewards app, the more you order, the more you enjoy. Download the Booster Rewards app today. Order, earn, enjoy.
Hi, Dennis from Weiss Johnson. Are you one of those people out there looking for something different to heat and cool your home? Weiss Johnson is Edmonton's cold climate heat pump specialist and would love to explain to you how Trane heat pumps are a reliable, cost-effective alternative for your home's heating and cooling needs. Order your Trane heat pump now and take advantage of the generous government rebates that are available. Trane, it's hard to stop a train. Call the most experienced HVAC company around with over 45 years in business. Visit wjcools.com today.
Tackle winter weather with the X-Series snowblowers from Cub Cadet. Available in single, 2, and 3-stage models, the X-Series is engineered with powerful engines to quickly break through snow. Select models come with additional features like power steering for ease of handling and heated hand grips for comfort in cold conditions. Be prepared for winter with the Cub Cadet X-Series. Stop into Highline Motorsports, your locally owned Cub Cadet dealer at 4715 39th Ave in Wetaskiwin for expertise in finding the right equipment for your landscaping needs.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style.
We continue on Tuesday afternoon. Jason Gregor, Shan Brown, Connor Halley with you. Sports 1440 is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca. You want to get in the game? A fair amount of games on slate tonight at PlayAlberta.ca. And I'll say this, there's always a few upsets lurking. Always a few upsets. to consider. Sabres over Boston, Columbus over Pittsburgh, maybe at home. What about the Canadians? Could they upset the Flames on home ice? A lot of the home teams are underdogs. Washington with Vegas. St. Louis hosting Tampa Bay. They're also the underdog. So I do like the Jets, though, tonight. Taking on a Jack Hughes-less and Nico Hischier-less New Jersey Devils. So, of course, that means they'll probably lose. But we did our playalberta.ca three-way parlay, and we went with the Jets. And then we went with two that we thought were maybe kind of easier bets. Went with the Nuggets to win and the Lakers to win. So they're heavy favorites. We'll see. Playalberta.ca. And everything we win at the end of the month, if we're up. We were up in September. We were negative in October. So if we're up, then we donate to charity. That's how it is at playalberta.ca. We do a $20 parlay every day. So far this month, we're all right. We had one good hit that kind of saved us after a tough start. So who knows? Maybe we'll get on a run here. We need to get on like a winning streak, Connor. Haven't really been on a streak yet. We're like the Chicago Blackhawks. We've had, oh no, that's not true. We did have one 3-day winning streak. So that's it though. Then we went on like an 11-day loser. That was brutal. Let's get to 5 questions brought to you by The Brick. At The Brick, they are committed to saving you more. And with The Brick's holiday price guarantee, you can shop with confidence knowing you will get the lowest price. Any price you think is better, they will match it. The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, guys, question number 1 today. What, if any, was the biggest change you saw from the Oilers under Game 1 with Coach Knoblauch?
Honestly, I didn't see a massive change, really, because I don't think you could. He didn't have a practice. Small little ones. I guess if I saw one change, is I saw the D-men trying to move the puck quicker. There was twice where Desharnais had the puck and then he moved and he gets off the ice and I see Paul Coffey talking to him. So I know that's been a point of emphasis. So I would say that maybe a little bit quicker puck movement.
I didn't see a ton either, but what I did see is the fact that the way the game started and the fact that they got scored on in the first minute, I think everybody was like, oh boy, what's going on here? The fact they bent but didn't break was the biggest change that I think I've seen. As a fragile team that didn't pack it in and fought through it and got what they needed.
Question number 2. We saw some offense from the Oilers' top players last night. So I'll throw this question at you. A little fill in the blank. In the next 5 games, Connor McDavid will record blank points and Leon Draisaitl will get blank points.
I don't know what's off you could say anything for these guys. I mean, they're so, now that they got a little bit of mojo, that's a tough one. I mean, you could set the bar really high and they could obviously get that. I'll go 10 points.
Whew.
Yeah.
Like you look at McDavid, he's right now at 12 points in 12 games for him, which most other players would be tickled pink over a point a game. It's low for him. I will say, and they play Seattle, which that's the one game where, hey, maybe it's a little bit of point night, but Tampa, Florida, Carolina are playing really well. Washington's not giving up anything. So I'm going to say 5 games. I'll say 8 and 9.
All right. Question number 3 for you guys. I've been meaning to ask this for a little while, but what do you like about do you like the concept of the NBA's in-season tournament?
Well, at first I was like, okay, but now that because honestly, I had to study it to truly understand it. There's certain days of the week that count. They pick into these random pools and I don't know. I don't think it's going to have the the luster. I think the last few games will matter, but I don't think the playoff round anybody even notices. Oh, okay, so tonight playoff game. These are the in-season games: Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Okay, yeah, I don't know. I don't hate it because I don't think it hurts anything. I'm not sure it's going to really spice things up. Is all.
I didn't do as much homework as you did, but if anything, I think it creates a little bit of excitement, a little bit of buzz. And what I think the NBA is like I think of the NBA like I think of the NFL. They do a great job of creating a little action and a buzz, and they market it and gets maybe a fringe fan like myself kind of interested. So the fact that it injects a little bit of some curiosity and something new excites me.
Question number 4. After watching the NFL last night, what do you make of the Buffalo Bills, the team that people thought might have Super Bowl aspirations going into the year? And do you think they are a playoff team? Because their remaining games are quite tough.
Yeah, I mean, growing up in Toronto, the Bills were the team that I heard most about. I was excited about that Josh Allen and what he did last year and what he potentially was going to do this year. Obviously the game that they played against Denver, there was, probably wasn't his best game and maybe the team's best game. There was, a lot of mistakes throughout it, but I'm not going to give up on them. I know they got, I was looking at who they're playing and there are some good teams, but maybe this little shakeup, did they not get rid of their offensive coordinator? Maybe this
today they did. Yeah.
So similar to the Oilers, maybe that's a bump and a little injection in there. So, they'll get back on track.
I think the Bills are one of the biggest disappointments in the NFL right now. They got a tough schedule, and then you look at teams ahead of them. Like Cincinnati is a team that's playing better, right? What about Houston? Look at their young quarterback. Like I think the Bills are in trouble, Cons. I do. Now, I also think they're good, but you accurately point out their schedule. So they got 7 games remaining. I think if they win 6, then they got let's say they go 5-2. Well, then they're 10-7. I think then it's got to be tiebreaker, right? And that's what might come down to why they lose. So I think the Bills are in tough. I think honestly, like you go 5-2 with all those other teams around you, that might not be enough, right? Because they're currently now with the Colts. What are they, like 10th? So yeah, it's difficult. Like this is they've lost to some teams that New England and Denver might come back to really haunt them.
Final question for you guys. I'm not sure if you're up early and listen to our morning show with Kevin Carrius and Brandon Douglas, but they started a new segment titled In or Out last week. And today they got on the topic of concerts because Brandon is going to the Jonas Brothers tonight. And it was about how long should a concert be? So I want to ask you both, how long in an ideal world would a concert last?
For me, the cost of concerts now are so expensive that it's got to be at least 2 hours, I would think. The last concert I went to was Kings of Leon's. And
yeah, it was terrible. It was one of the worst concerts of your life, wasn't it?
No, I thought it was unbelievable.
God, they were the worst concert I've ever been
What?
to.
They're banned from the show.
Yeah.
I can't play their music.
Yeah.
I was a fan of them. I became a bigger fan when I seen them live.
When did you go? How many years ago?
Jesus, that was at least probably 3 years ago.
Oh, 3? Okay. Well, I went probably 10 or 12.
Okay.
And the one brother was sick. And he was and then he complained to the audience about, because he just stood there static and didn't move. Right. And Rod, oh man, what's his, Rod Stewart. I'd seen Rod Stewart the night before. And Rod Stewart is in his 70s and he's kicking soccer balls in the second deck, right? He's just absolutely killing it, right? You got all the ladies of the panty sprinklers on high in the front row going absolutely bananas. And then the next night, these guys come on and I'm just seriously, I just could have played their music. There was no stage presence at all. But my question to you, Cons, is when you say the concert, are we including all of or is it just the headliner, or is it all of them? Because if it's all of them, it definitely better be longer than 2 hours.
That's a given.
I'm saying headliner, like a band you're there to see.
Yeah, I would say at least an hour 45.
That's fair.
Gotta be, because I'm assuming the people that are the warm-up acts are decent. Some warm-up acts unbelievable. But yeah, I want at least a good hour 45. I think Brownie brings up a big point. The price tag now, most concerts are 200 bones. Like you look at Taylor Swift's concerts, it's ridiculous. Now I hear she puts on a fantastic show, but it's pretty hefty price tag. like a Super Bowl ticket. Well, no, I'm not a Super Bowl.
You
ticket,
have to
but-
enter a draw to spend money. I don't get that.
Well, that's when you know she's popular.
You
right?
know you're good when
Yeah.
it's like we don't want to take your money. You gotta
give it
sign
to
up
us.
over here.
Yeah.
Before we do.
So we do have a lot of texts. Hey guys, the biggest change I saw, there was no change in the lines from Darcy and many others. Fair point, right? That is one where geez, we're down. They played it, but I'll say this about Knoblauch. He talked about it, and he talked about after the game. Ryan McLeod and Warren Fogle says, I know that Warren Fogle contributed in the top 6. But I really think we need to get him and Ryan McLeod together and stay together. And that's what he's going to do. And I don't think it's going to be 5 games. I think it's going to be a long time. I think the only change you might see here is when Connor Brown is healthy and might play maybe on Wednesday, that we could see, Sam Gagner bumped out of the top 6. But other than that, I think you're going to see a long runway here to see these lines try to build some continuity.
It'd be interesting to see how what this does for Connor Brown, having obviously being coached by Chris. And does this inject anything? Does this change anything for him? I mean, he's another guy that I think he's a good signing. He's a good pickup. Does this help his game and get him to where he needs to be?
Well, man, his game was coming before he got injured. And, he has a little bit of a groin injury, in case you're wondering what the injury is for him. He just kind of tweaked his groin. It's nothing to do with the knee from beforehand. So maybe there was some compensation, how, subconsciously you're moving in different angles. So they've really worked on that. He's felt great. He was taking part of all the drills. But keep in mind, they also have 3 days until their next game. So we'll see. I think there's a very good chance he plays against Tampa. I think he's probable, maybe, against Seattle. We'll see how that goes. So, Brownie, always good to have you back, buddy.
Good to be back.
You really got you letting the hair grow out too, like me? What's going on there?
I'm like you and Struddy. It's getting a little thin at the back. It's good that
what
the
are you
camera's
talking
right.
about?
Honestly, I don't have
Buddy,
much.
turn around. There's nothing. It's getting thin.
It's a little sparse up there.
Yeah. Well, there's one little small area, right? You've got you could easily, that thing's pretty full everywhere else. I don't think you have much. You got a 3 head in the front. There's no receding hairline back. You got nothing to worry about, man.
I don't know.
You got lots of real estate left. You could do a hair transplant for Shreddy.
Nobody wants this hair. Nobody wants. You feel how hard this is?
Oh, that I know it. It's like a.
I don't wish this hair on anyone.
You use that to just scrub your dishes sometimes, eh? It's a little bristle pad up there.
It is a little dry right now.
Awesome. Well, sadly, I got a few months here to grow mine out. It's going to be awful. You'll probably want to wear shades. I'll tell you, getting very quickly, you'll want to wear shades in here.
Actually, Struddy, he threw me off there when you guys were talking. I'm looking at you and trying to get a visual.
He's so
and I'm
excited about it.
Yeah.
It's like I'm Santa Claus for him. Christmas has come early.
It's going to be a great look.
We'll talk. No, it won't. We'll talk to you next Tuesday.
Have a good one.
Let's get to Connor Halley, Sports 1440 update brought to you by Edmonton Kubota. I know it's not there, but we all want it now. But when it comes, you want to be prepared. The snow is coming. So get all your snow removal and all sorts of accessories right now at Edmonton Kubota. Relieve the stress at EdmontonKubota.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Oilers forward Raphael Lavoie has been loaned to the Bakersfield Condors in 5 games with the Oil. He went pointless, averaging just under 8 minutes played per game. Also, Oilers forward Leon Draisaitl will find $5,000 today for dangerous trip on New York Islanders center Bo Horvat. Draisaitl received a 2-minute minor on the trip, which occurred in the second period of the Oilers' 4-1 victory. On the ice tonight, a bunch of games just about to get going. Sabres, Bruins, Flames, Canadians, Caps, Golden Knights, and Penguins, the Blue Jackets. Later tonight, you'll have the Blues hosting the Lightning. The Ducks in Nashville. Stars host the Coyotes. Devils take on the Jets. And at 8:30, it's the Sharks up against the Panthers. In the NBA, the in-season tournament rolls on. The Hornets hosting the Heat. The Pacers in Philly. Pistons hosting the Hawks. You got the Mavericks taking on the Pelicans. The Nuggets host the Clippers. Timberwolves take on the Warriors. And the Grizz in Los Angeles to battle the Lakers. From the NFL, the Buffalo Bills have fired offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey. The move comes after their 24-22 loss to the Denver Broncos. And in the AJ2 game tonight, Drayton Valley hosting Old and Calgary takes on Okotoks. Both those games starting at 7. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we will be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and Derek Van Diest from NHL.com. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free Radio Player app and listen wherever you go.
At The Brick, we're not just proud of this city and its rich sports history. We're proud partners of it. The Brick started right here in Edmonton over 50 years ago. And when we're not cheering on the Oilers and Oil Kings live at the game, or the Edmonton Elks under the bright stadium lights, we're in our stores, providing everything you need to cheer them on in your home. The Brick, supporting Edmonton sports teams and fans since 1971, saving you more.
What's better than getting a delicious McMuffin and a medium premium roast coffee? Getting a delicious McMuffin and a medium premium roast coffee for only $4 plus tax. It's your favorite McDonald's breakfast for less. What's better than that? For a limited time at participating McDonald's in Canada, prices exclude delivery.
Being on this road together means saving twice during the Fountain Tire Road Ready sales event. Save up to $225 on a set of 4 select tires. Plus, get a bonus $50 off any service until December 16th. Book your appointment at fountaintire.com. Restrictions apply. Financing available. Ugh, fine print.
Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies. With state-of-the-art motor coaches, we provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation. Our seatbelt-equipped buses have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel across Western Chamora at 780-940-0880 or visit silentrides.ca.
Story time with Mr. Rooter.
Mr. Rooter, can you tell me a bedtime story?
Sure, son. But can you just call me Dad?
Nope.
How about Papa?
No, you're Mr. Rooter.
Okay, son. What story this time?
Can you read the one about the sewer roots?
No way. You know how you get root nightmares.
Please.
Not a chance.
Please. Papa?
Oh, boy. Just don't tell your mother.
You mean Mrs. Rooter?
For a plumbing story with a happy ending, call Mr. Rooter.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Heading south? If you're an Alberta snowbird, we can help. Hi, Larry Ricci from Vision RV. We have the inventory, savings, financing, everything you need to get ready for your winter escape. Explore our big, bright showroom. Check out our 10 service bays and drive-through appointment bay. And say hi to the great staff in our parts department. You'll quickly see that you're in good hands with us. A new state-of-the-art facility with old-fashioned values and a commitment to customer service. Vision RV, just south of the Yellowhead on Highway 60.
When you're a snowbird and take to warmer climates this winter, you want to make sure you have full coverage. That means home insurance when you're at home and travel insurance for when you try wave jumping on your jet skis. Woo-hoo! The James Insurance Group gives you peace of mind in your policy, so you're always covered. Working for Albertans across the province, the James Insurance Group will find you the best value and coverage you need. Find us at tjig.ca. That's tjig.ca.
Just after 5 o'clock, Sports 1440, Orders Nation YouTube. It is the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only official online gambling website. PlayAlberta.ca, where all of the fun stay right here in the province. So even if you lose, you win, as it helps support many things. And hey, gets the Henday construction free one day. So we'll dare to dream about that. I'm Jason Gregor. He is Connor Halley. We have lots of texts. People want to know what's up with Lavoie. The orders. I think this is Lavoie's not. I've been told Lavoie's not playing tonight, which makes me believe this is This is like a cap related thing. And probably tomorrow you will see a few moves that coincide with this. I expect Raphael Lavoie to be in the lineup tomorrow. I'll say that. Right. So to me, that looks like a paper. Well, not paper transaction's a wrong word. I think there's some cap implications. Keep in mind, the Oilers are going on a 4-game road trip, right? And Holloway is injured. They could put him on LTIR because if they do, then they could bring up an extra body, right? And now I have to go back and look. Matthias Janmark, if they wanted to, I think, well, you can always do it retroactive, so you could do it at any point, right? Even if he's close, right? And let's say he's a week away from going. You could put him on LTR retroactive to the day he got injured, right? Which was before the Heritage Classic, right? Remember, he skated at the on the Saturday, but didn't play on the Sunday. Remember, there was pictures. I think he was in a sling, right? So he got hurt against the Rangers. So that was, what's that? October 26th, right? So you do 10 games retroactive from that, or the 24-day period, either one. So that's where you could put him if they wanted to retroactive, and then that would open up another spot. So because they are going on a road trip, it's out east. I could see them trying to have an extra body around at that point. That would probably make sense, right? Connor Brown skated. He's very close. If he doesn't play tomorrow, he'll be playing on Saturday. So I think it just comes down to, a few extra days rest matters, right? If he's close and they're like, okay, but geez, another 72 hours, then maybe he rests 72. So I don't know if Brown's going to play or not. And when I asked him today, he was like, man, I'm close. I feel good. Players always say they feel good. So we'll see. Let's get to the Spec Report now, brought to you by GS Construction. Family-run business coming up on 50 years next year. They'll celebrate the big 5-0. Well, you could celebrate by working with them. Great company, looking for some good employees. Go to Indeed.com and look up GS Construction as we welcome in Mark Spector to the show. Spec, how are you?
Oh, are you kidding? Shalka just made Rice Krispie Squares, man. I'm doing great. How you doing?
Geez, I love the Rice Krispie Squares. Oh,
I know. I haven't had one for ages. They're as good as they always were, man.
Yeah, very good. So
maybe what's going on here, I think the one thing that you shouldn't overlook is the Oilers live their lives with their farm team being a 4-hour flight away, 2 different planes, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is one of the rare moments in time when their farm team is down the road in Calgary right now.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think that the proximity of the farm team and the ability to grab a player real fast if you need one, does that have anything to do with what's going on today?
Well, they're not going to they're not recalling anybody today, right? Like, you got to have some guys who are going to play tonight that I think will be recalled tomorrow, right? That I expect, because Holloway is injured. Spec, he's, it's bad news for him, but he's going to be out a few months, right? So that puts them down to 11 forwards. Now, Connor Brown could be ready, and you could just switch out Connor Brown for Holloway, and now you're at 12. No big deal, right? So I could see that happening, and that's a pretty simple one. But
why are we sending Lavoie?
I'm
save $840,000 for 1 day.
Yeah, I think the Oilers are that tight against the cap. I think that I have to think, because I've been told Lavoie's not playing tonight in Calgary, and I would expect that he's going to play tomorrow. So I think this is
in Edmonton tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay, because they're in Calgary again tomorrow too. Bako is, right?
Yeah. So I think Lavoie is going to play for the Oilers tomorrow.
Okay.
And I think this is if you look at how tight the Oilers are to the cap, and I know you can go on Puckpedia or Cap Friendly, and I still don't know all the rules in and out, but I follow well enough that like the Oilers were so close, Spec, that I do know that every day, if you accrue a little cap space, it helps. So, you send Lavoie down, it's 1 day. I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but it's a little bit. And then it might be the difference, because and this is where I didn't crunch the numbers. So let's say Holloway goes on LTIR, and then you want to call up an extra body for him because you're going on the road. Like, to me, that would make sense. Even if Brown's healthy to replace Holloway, you still want an extra body around, right? So let's say now the question is, are they going to go seventh defenseman or they bring up a forward? Right? I know people are wondering, will they bring up a Bourgault? I don't think it's going to be Bourgault because I think they have enough right shots. Right? They're actually for one of the few times ever, they have more right shots up front now than lefties, right? With Holloway going down. So I'm going to guess it's a left shot forward that comes up. And then the other question is, or maybe it's a defenseman, right? Like Broberg played really well, got good scouting reports lately. So maybe he comes back up. I have no idea. I'm not sure, but I think one of them. And then the wild card spec is, of course, Matthias Janmark. They could put him on LTIR, retroactive to when he was injured, right? So then you have an extra body to go on the road trip. They could do that. So did they do Lavoie just to save some cap space for a day? I think they might end up being the case here. And I think it'll be sorted out before the morning skate because, as you mentioned, Spector in Calgary, and I think anybody who's going to be recalled will be coming to Edmonton after the game.
Yeah, they'll probably play someone like they need to make these decisions. They fly Thursday, to Tampa.
Yeah,
they'll just fly Thursday. They won't practice Thursday. They'll fly Thursday. So they need to know. I'm going to say to you that whoever the guy is that gets called up probably isn't playing in Calgary on Wednesday night. He's probably he's got to be here to get on the plane Thursday. So the next conversation we're going to have, and it's been had a million times, is if Raphael Lavoie is going to be on the fourth line, and that looks like the structure of Chris Knoblauch's lines that I'm seeing so far, do we want Raphael Lavoie playing the fourth line in Edmonton or the first line in Baco when you got a guy down there like Ernie, I'm just fine playing him on the fourth line in Edmonton, and if too many penalties happen or stuff goes on and Adam Ernie only plays 6 minutes, nobody cares, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's
just
fair.
A thought.
No, I agree. I think that's possible. I also think like Raphael Lavoie hasn't done anything wrong. And the truth of the matter is he's got to get used to being able to contribute in less minutes because he might never be a top six forward in the NHL, right? Like there's probably better odds that he'll be a bottom six forward in his career than he is a top six. And you can say that about most players, right?
Always better odds. You can say that about every player, Jason.
Yeah.
The odds are better. You're going to be bottom six than top six for every single guy. Yes.
So, you know what? If the Oilers are like, hey, we've liked how he plays, he's been good on the boards. I'll say this about Lavoie. When they do get in the offensive zone, like that guy finds openings. And,
got a scorer's instinct.
Yeah. And so, you know what? If you can get some guys chipping in, because I'll say this, Lavoie gives you a much better chance to score than Adam Ernie does. That's a fact for me.
That's a fact.
I would, I think Lavoie, from my conversations today, I expect Lavoie in the lineup tomorrow, Spec. I also expect another recall because I think they'll put Holloway on LTIR. And if they wanted to, and this I don't know, I'm just guessing here, they could put another guy. They could put both Janmark and Holloway on LTIR, right? Because Janmark's retroactive, so it goes all the way back. Because even if he's close now in a week, you'd put him on there and he's still eligible to come off in a week.
Right. Okay. Well, that's now we're into Bill Scott territory here, right? The reason you utilize LTIR is to obviously just to accrue, to claw back a little cap space, right?
Mm-hmm.
When a guy's been hurt, you kind of get it back, but there's no point getting it back until you need it. There's no point in an LTIR until you say, well, we want to call this guy up, but we don't have the cap space. So I don't know if they have that guy on their roster down there that they can't call up for cap space. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, no, it's true. If you weren't going to call the guy up, and even though the Oilers, I think it was like 20, I'd have to look at Puckpedia. I think it was 22,000 or so. Like it's a small amount you're accruing every day. That's all they could, but that all adds up. So it's better than accruing nothing. So you put a guy in LTIR, and you're not going to call anybody up. Now you're not even accruing cap space. So I know that they've wanted to accrue as much space as they can by the time they get to the trade deadline, so they have more options. And so I honestly, Spec, sending Lavoie down for a day allows them to accrue a little bit more cap space today, right? I think it might be as simple as that.
Yeah, there's lots of teams that do that all the time. Like the Anaheim Ducks are famous for sending a guy down every second day just to save the 18 Gs or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Whatever. I get a little bored with it. I'm sort of one of those guys that would flip through that book and just read the last chapter, Jason. Not every word along the way.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. What did you make of the chapter of the orders last night? Obviously, the opening page wasn't great. They give up a goal early on. And I like Chris Knoblauch. He was very honest. The one thing about Knoblauch in his first two press conferences being pretty, he's not afraid to tell you kind of what he feels about something. Never negative or anything. Just said, hey, we talked about we didn't want to give up slot shots, and boom, we gave up 2 in the first shift. It wasn't ideal. But then after that, Stuart Skinner, I thought, made some big saves when called upon, but the orders, like they did against Seattle, they didn't give up very much. And they played a patient game. And then their power play spec, which hadn't in a San Jose game, for instance, or other games, scored at a key time. Their power play came up big at a key time.
Yeah, they got a lot of things last night that they haven't been getting that they're supposed to get. They're supposed to get points from McDavid and Draisaitl. Haven't been getting them, got them last night. They're supposed to get goals from the power play, got them last night. They're supposed to be a team that can break open a 1-1 game in the third period. They haven't been that team all year. They were that team last night. Mm-hmm. And it goes right, they killed penalties last night, which is always killer important. And the last one is your goaltending. You're supposed to have a goalie that can hold the other team to 1 once in a while. Well, they got one that's done it 2 times in a row. So, and the last thing I like, Jay, when that game ended, it wasn't the Oilers coach saying, why did we take a penalty 200 feet from our net that cost us the game-winning goal? And why did we shoot a puck over the ice that cost us the insurance, over the glass that cost us the insurance goal? It was the coach on the other team who was saying that. So that's a good sign too. Yeah.
Like the Oilers, they haven't beat themselves, which we've talked about was their major thing. The other thing I'm expecting, Spec, is I think we're going to see a long run here of some continuity with the lines. Now, injuries obviously change things. Holloway, I think they wanted him, Fogle, and McLeod to be the third line. Now that's obviously not going to happen for a few months. And to me, there is the one spot, Spec, that when I look at Derek Ryan or Sam Gagner when Brown comes back, and then I look at Raphael Lavoie, I think, maybe Lavoie with McLeod and Fogle might be the better long-term fit here with Holloway out months.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the guy you want on that line. He's got to be able to skate, keep up with that line. I see. We've been talking about this since training camp, man. I think that's a killer third line. Holloway, McLeod, and Fogle. I love it. I think I'm really was pleased to see that Chris Knoblauch's plan was clearly we're going to put those guys together and we're going to let them have a run. He said it's really important that Fogle and McLeod get some chemistry between them. So I think that's got the chemistry, the on paper, as we say, looks like a great third line. Happy to see that Knoblauch thinks the same thing. So now what do? You got to fill in a guy in Holloway spot long term. Who fits that bill, right? Gagner's a right shot. Lavoie's a right shot. I guess you move Fogle over to the left side, and maybe you're looking for a right winger, Jay. Maybe that's what you're doing now. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, Holloway's not going to be out the year. Holloway is, he's going to be out a few months.
Be out for a while though.
Yeah.
Like I'm just saying, if he's going to be out for a month or more, then you forget about that player till he comes back. We're not saving any spots for a guy that's out for months.
Yeah, I think Holloway, depending on the severity of it, Spec, I'm going to say minimum 2 months, could be up to 4.
Yeah, it's really, really a shame. That kid can't stay healthy. It's too bad. It's never anyone's fault. It's not like he wants to get hurt. It's not like he's
especially like last night. It's just one where you lose an edge and you go high speed or right into the boards and you crush your knee up. I don't know exactly if it's, if he tore something or if he, to me, I could easily see that being like a, what's the proper term here? Is it like, do you fracture your kneecaps? I think maybe that's what the term
is. You can displace a kneecap. You can fracture a kneecap.
Yeah,
let's just hope for his sake it's not like an ACL or something, man.
No, like you
let's
saw
hope he's going to be okay.
Yeah. You saw it.
Let's the young player, I will say Holloway, like so many young guys, Taylor Hall comes to mind. He does need to refine his game. He's a little out of control, right? He does everything at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I'm not blaming him for anything. I'm not saying that's why this happened. It could happen to anybody. But Holloway is still that young guy who plays the game, just with his pedal to the metal, man. And at some point, everybody grows up and matures and figures out there's time for that type of game, but that time isn't all the time, right? Taylor Hall figured it out. Lots of guys have had to figure it out, and Holloway will figure it out too. He's a smart kid.
Yeah. Spec, we will chat with you tomorrow. Have yourself a good evening. Enjoy your Rice Krispie squares.
All right. I might just have one more.
That's Mark Spector in the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. Now, when we come back, Derek Van Diest will join us. We'll go in the room. We got some comments from Connor Brown. How close is Connor Brown? Maybe tomorrow. If he's not ready tomorrow, then obviously they're going to recall another Ford. So that could be part of this whole process here on Connor Brown. And even if he is ready, maybe they recall one anyway. In theory, I got to crunch the numbers, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Edmonton Oilers, I'm just going to assume Lavoie's on the roster, right? So Brown was already on the roster. If you put Holloway on LTIR, you can call someone up for him. And I only say this because Janmark didn't skate the last 2 days of the main group. So I'm guessing he's at least a week away, which means if they wanted to, they could put him on LTIR and recall someone in a spot. But I don't know with any accuracy. I'll say for certain that they're going to use a spot for Holloway just because they have to, right? They're going out east, right? I think you want to have at least one extra body in case of an injury. But if they wanted to, and I don't know if they do or not, they haven't done it all year, they could do that. And because they're already in LTIR with Holloway, then it wouldn't matter, right? Like you've already lost your accrued space, so why not do it? It probably benefits you. So that's food for thought. We'll take a quick break. We'll return on Sports 1440. It's simply the best time to buy. The Black Friday event is on right now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. You'll save up to a game-changing $7,500 off your purchase or finance as low as 1.49%. Choose from a winning selection of 2023 cars and SUVs like the sleek S60 or the roomy and comfortable XC60s and 90s. Black Friday is on now at Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. Visit 1205 101st Street Southwest or chat online at volvocarsedmonton.com.
First Round is Edmonton's NFL headquarters. Get in the game and watch NFL football this season at First Round, and you'll have a chance to win a trip to your favorite NFL city to watch a game in person next season. And the hits keep on coming with food and drink specials, big screen TVs, and more. Catch the Pro Bowl brunch every Sunday, Monday Night Football, and head in Thursdays for your chance to win an NFL replica helmet. NFL at First Round. Burgers, beer, sports. Downtown West Edmonton Mall and at 1strnd.ca.
When you hand deliver a hamper to a family in need, everyone's hearts fill with joy. Be part of the Holiday Hamper Program, a charitable experience unlike anything in Edmonton. Sign up to adopt a local family, fill a hamper with food and gifts, then bring it to their door and see the difference you're making firsthand. With the rising cost of living impacting so many families, the need has never been greater. Sign up for the Holiday Hamper Program today at holidayhamper.ca.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
There's nothing like having a little skin in the game to make things interesting. But when a little skin becomes more than you can afford to lose, it's time to take a break from sports betting. Set a budget and stick to it. If you gamble, use your game sense.
I can't stand people always asking how I am. I know things may look normal, but life hasn't been the same since my accident. I have a headache all the time. And when I try to do anything, I pay the price. I'm out of work, out of money, and out of hope.
I'm Carol Robinson with Robinson LLP. We understand that pain isn't always visible. Let us help you get the compensation you deserve. We're on your team. At Robinson LLP, we get tough, you get results.
Put the lawyers at Robinson LLP in your corner today.
Imagine being the difference in a young person's life. At Big Brothers Big Sisters, we create life-changing friendships. Visit bigbrothersbigsisters.ca today to donate or volunteer. Your involvement can shape a future.
5:28. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on a lovely Tuesday. Hope you're having a wonderful day. And remember, on Tuesdays, one of the small little simple things in life, because let's be honest, we're always looking for it's the small things that matter. It's Tuesday, you're sitting at home, you're like, geez, it's 5:30. I don't want to cook dinner tonight. Well, guess what? Use the promo code 40Tuesday at papajohns.ca and you'll get 40% off your order. Just put it in before you put the order. And I'm telling you right now, try the ranch instead of tomato sauce. Just try it on one of your pizzas. You won't regret it. It's very good. Very good. The Gregor Show is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca. And we are going to go in the room now, brought to you by Next Gen Transportation. Heavy haul transport provider, 100% locally owned and operated. And they got all new platform trailers in stock right now, and they're ready for work. NextGenTransportation.com as Derek Van Diest joins us. DVD, the Edmonton Oilers with a big win last night. Before we get to that, I noticed today, so you're working with Dallas Eakins on a coaching segment at NHL.com. Give me the inside. What's going on there?
Yeah, it's kind of like a coach's corner thing that we're working. There's 3 different coaches that are going to kind of give us their insight on what they're seeing throughout the NHL season. They've matched me up with Dallas Eakins. Dallas and I, of course, had a pretty good relationship back in the days when he was here with the Edmonton Oilers. And it's kind of interesting just kind of seeing the way he sees the game. Obviously, when you're a coach, you see the game maybe a little differently than you would as a fan or even a media member. So he obviously picks out some things and is able to pick out some things. So we chatted this week about, he said, listen, the mentality when you're losing a lot and you're winning a lot has to remain the same. You're still dealing on a day-to-day basis, and you can't really look at the big picture. And so he kind of compared what was going on with the teams that are winning, the Vegas, the Vancouver, the New York Rangers, to the teams that did not get off to good starts, like the Oilers and San Jose Sharks. And he's really he's a guy that really likes the mindset of the game and the mindset of players. And just talking to him and seeing the way he thinks, seeing the way he sees the game, it's really insightful. It's really insightful, and I'm really looking forward to working with Dallas Eakins this year and just talking about him and kind of picking his brain and seeing what he sees, because we're watching the same game, but I think we're seeing it in a different way.
What did you see on the Oilers game last night?
Well, I saw a patient team, to be honest with you. I saw a team that they weren't afraid to play that slow, methodical game. Like we were talking, I think that second period was kind of a dull period. Not much was going on, but I thought they were patient. They didn't force the issue, which in the past they may have said, okay, we got to get something going here, guys. And that's when you get the bad passes. That's when you get the bad reads. That's when bad things would happen to this hockey team. But they kind of just stayed the course. They kept patient, and they believe that it'll come. It'll eventually come. If we just kind of keep leaning on these guys, hopefully it'll come. And then they got a couple of power plays in the third, and they converted on him, and that was pretty much the ball game. So I thought in that sense that they stuck to the system. They stuck to the lines. They didn't kind of say, okay, it's not working, let's figure something else out. They kind of let the process go through, and I think they were rewarded by that. And I believe, that to me, that was a good sign that they kept with it. They figured that it was eventually going to work out, and it did work out. So maybe there was a different philosophy, but I was kind of impressed where they didn't panic. They didn't start changing up the lines. They didn't start, they didn't throw Draisaitl and McDavid together right away to say, okay, we need something to get going. They were patient with the process, and I thought they had great goaltending. Defensively, they were really good, and obviously the special teams came through.
Yeah, well, that's the key. Their special teams came through, specifically their power play at the right time. Their power play hasn't been awful by any stretch, right? It's obviously been below their standards because their standards are pretty high the last 4 seasons. But the San Jose game is a prime example. They had 2 power plays in the first 11 minutes against a terrible team, didn't score. And then a power play in the final 2 minutes to tie the game, didn't score, and obviously cost them the game. Last night it's 1-1, and they wasted no time. What was it, 9 seconds after the penalty? They scored, and then Draisaitl makes a ridiculous pass to send to McDavid, and he gets his first goal in 9 games, and a multi-point game for him, a 4-point game for Draisaitl. Like last night, your star guys show up, your role players don't get scored on, and your goalie makes stops when needed. And I wouldn't say it was an easy win, but it was a fairly controlled win.
Yeah, it was. It was an effective game, and they got everything that they weren't getting through the first 12 games of the season. They weren't getting the goaltending, they weren't getting the strong defensive play, and they weren't winning the special teams battle. If they would score a power play goal, they'd give up 2 on the penalty kill. So it was really how everything kind of just came together in the end there. But I did like the patience of their game, and they figured that it eventually would come. And when you have the two of the best offensive players in the world, and you keep giving them power play opportunities, eventually they're going to cash in, and they did that. So I like that patient game, and I like the fact that they figured it would come eventually, and they didn't kind of freak out or panic when not much was going on in that second period.
Yeah. Derek Van Diest joins us. Chris Knoblauch, he's kind of outlined things moving forward for the team. He wants Fogel and McLeod to play together. He admitted, hey, I know Fogel's done well in the top 6, but he just felt the importance of getting that third line going and getting some stability there. He's coached Warren Fogel in the past, right? So I think, and if any coach, players, all they want is tell me what my role is. Most players ever talk to just tell me what my role is. I know what it is. And then if I play to it, I expect to play. It's kind of that simple. And I think he really wants that third line to kind of create some sort of identity.
No, definitely. It's kind of a chicken and egg thing, right? Because when those bottom 6 lines, like the bottom 6 players, the bottom 2 lines, they haven't been doing much offensively at all. So is it because they're not getting opportunities, or is it because they're not getting opportunities because they're not doing anything at all? And I think you're right. Like you look at the ice times last night, they're spread out pretty evenly throughout the lineup. Obviously, McDavid and Draisaitl playing a lot more, but Ryan got his 10 minutes. Those guys got about their 10, 12 minutes. So yeah, when you know you're going to play about 10 or 12 minutes a night, depending on if there's not a lot of penalties or not a lot of special teams, then you know what your role is, you know what you do, you know how you can identify. And yeah, the worst thing for a player, especially a bottom 6 player, is not knowing where he stands with the coach, not knowing what the coach wants him to do, and if he does something wrong, then he's going to park him on the bench for most of the game. And I think you need those guys. They're role players, but you need those guys to contribute. It's not necessarily on the scoreboard, but you need them to contribute in other ways as well. And Derek Ryan talked about it yesterday. He said, hey, he gave me a role and I know what to do, and I went out and tried to do it. And that's all those guys asked for, is just to get an opportunity. And I'm not saying they didn't have one under Jay Woodcroft, but it just seemed like when things weren't going well, they would just go with the top two, and try and get things going. So we'll see how long this lasts. But yeah, I did like the fact that those guys got an opportunity to kind of find their skating legs, find their game, and contribute, not necessarily in scoreboard, but in other ways.
Yeah, 100%. You look at Pickard and Skinner. Eventually, they're going to want to play Pickard, only because they can't play Skinner every game. What do you think they play him? Like, they've got a game tomorrow. Then they got the 4-game road trip that starts in Tampa on Saturday. Goes Tampa. Then they've got Carolina, Florida. I can't remember who's first. Might be Florida, and then Carolina. And then they're into Washington on next Friday. When do you think they play Pickard?
Now, remind me, I haven't seen the schedule that far. Do they have a back-to-back in there at all?
Nope. They play. They will play Wednesday. Then they don't. Then they're going to fly Thursday. They go to Tampa. It's a Saturday night game. Then it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday afternoon.
Okay. Well, that's a good question. I think it'll depend on how Stuart Skinner is going, because they obviously need him to get on a roll. They need him to kind of get going, and looked like he was a lot more comfortable last night. And when you're stop and go the way they've kind of been with him and Jack Campbell, it's tough to get in a groove. And I think that might have been one of the reasons why they sent Campbell down and said, okay, because Skinner's our guy now, let's get him on a roll, let's get him in a groove. And yeah, I think it'll depend on how he plays. If there's no back-to-back there's no certain game where your backup plays, but they have to play him eventually. They have to see what they have. They have to see if he can come in here and fill that role if something happens to Skinner, or if Skinner gets in a bit of a slump. They have to see if Calvin Pickard can play. He's obviously has, I think, over 100 NHL games, so he's been in the league a long time. So he's been at this level before. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they found some game on the road there to let him play that game and to see what he can do.
Yeah, I think it makes sense, right? Stuart Skinner and the whole team, they bounce back after a tough first period. All the players have talked about the coach, like, there wasn't any massive changes, Derek, but today at practice, the one thing that, hey, what's different in practice, said, well, there was a lot of emphasis on eliminating the middle of the ice in the neutral zone, right? So that's going to be something now that I watch for from this group, that they really try to want to eliminate the middle of the ice. And I know it's funny because I know some coaches that call the middle of the ice the highway and outside the dots is the ditch. And you try to put the other guys in the ditch as much as you can because it eliminates the high danger chances.
Yeah, I think so. And you're right. He's not going to come in here and there just isn't time to revamp the entire system. So he's got to tweak things as he goes. He said today that on the road, they're going to have a bit more time to kind of tweak things. But yeah, I think he just wants to keep a lot of players between the net and the puck. And if you do that, that's probably the way you defend well defensively. You don't want that guys come right up the middle. And I know that's been an issue with the Oilers right now, is that they just give up too much ice in the middle of at center and in the slot. You're right, down that lane, down that highway. There's just too much free ice there. And I think they have to make it a little tougher for teams and push them outside a little more. I'm pretty sure Chris Knoblauch saw that and he said, okay, this is the structure that's worked for me in the past. This is how I want us to play. And he's going to try and kind of incorporate that here in the next couple of weeks. And so it'll be interesting to see how the Oilers adapt to that.
DVD, thanks for your time as always. Quickly, your thoughts. The Winnipeg Jets, very quietly, have kind of, they've reeled off a few wins. They got New Jersey, who's banged up. I know you're covering the Jets as well. What do you make the Jets turnaround? What do you make of the Jets turnaround?
I've liked the Jets because I think they have a star defenseman, a star goaltender, and a star forward. And with that, they have 4 really balanced lines. And I think they just keep sending those lines over the boards. And I really like the way they play, because they play a high tempo game. They want to, they're in your face all night. And because they have those 4 lines, they're able to do that. They're able to roll them. So I like the Winnipeg Jets. The only thing I wonder about is, they play tight games and they get a lot of chances, but they need another top high-end scorer, in my opinion, another top guy like that. But I do like the Jets. I like the way the Canucks are playing right now. Like they're lights out. They've totally incorporated what Rick Tocchet is selling there. And I wouldn't count Calgary out. I think Calgary's still trying to find their way. But with a new coach, new GM, it was going to take some time. And I think they got to get Huberdeau going. And once they can get him going, then I wouldn't count Calgary out as well either. So, but yeah, I like the Jets. I really like what the Canucks are doing. I think it's entertaining hockey out here in the West right now.
Yeah. DVD, thanks for your time, buddy. We appreciate it.
No, thanks for having me on.
There you go. That's Derek Van Diest from NHL.com. When we come back, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you. The con man's going to chime in. Haven't heard much from him today. So we're going to be talking orders, also a little football next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Hey world, get ready to believe. At Oodle Noodle, we serve up world-class, worldwide flavors in our sweet, saucy, and fiery noodles. We believe in the power of nudes. We've got everything from saucy mac and cheese to sizzling pad thai to so many other unbelievable dishes sure to make you a noodle convert for life. You've got to taste them to believe it. Don't be a skeptic. The proof is in the noodles. Check us out at oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle. We believe in noodles.
With sport and group events returning, are you looking for safe and professional travel options? Look no further than Silent Rides, one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies. Whether your group is big or small, Silent Rides has you covered. We offer state-of-the-art motor coaches, first-class service, and affordable rates. Get your quote today. For more information, contact Ted Nakamura at 780-940-0880 or visit silentrides.ca.
Hey everyone, it's Kelly here from United Sport and Cycle. Christmas is just around the corner, and we've got everything for the athlete and sports fan on your list, including United gift cards. United Sport and Cycle, your Santa's workshop for over 95 years.
If you have mobility issues, a residential elevator can allow you to enjoy your home for longer, but finding the right elevator or lift can be daunting. RAM Elevators and Lifts can get you started with 3 simple questions. What kind of space are you installing the elevator in? How far does it need to travel? And are you interested solely in function, or is the look of your lift important? Make your home more accessible with grounded simplicity, elevated design. Learn more online at trustram.com.
What's better than getting a delicious McMuffin and a medium premium roast coffee? Getting a delicious McMuffin and a medium premium roast coffee for only $4 plus tax. It's your favorite McDonald's breakfast for less. What's better than that? For a limited time at participating McDonald's in Canada, prices exclude delivery.
Storm chasing sounds exciting.
Most days, though, it's a lot of standing in the rain. But you know what's exciting and dry? PlayAlberta.ca. With hundreds of new live tables, online casino games, and instants.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today with promo code Casino50 and get a $50 welcome bonus. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
When you call CBS, you'll speak with a real live person located right here in Edmonton. No 1-800 number, no call centers, no waiting on hold forever. Just trained, experienced, and local service technicians. CBS is Western Canada's largest Konica Minolta factory authorized dealer of multifunction office equipment, printers, software solutions, and mailing machines. Corporate business solutions, local service, local support, local always. Call 780-490-5600 or visit cbsca.com.
When you hand deliver a hamper to a family in need, everyone's heart fills with joy. Be part of the Holiday Hamper Program, a charitable experience unlike anything in Edmonton. Sign up to adopt a local family, fill a hamper with food and gifts, then bring it to their door and see the difference you're making firsthand. With the rising cost of living impacting so many families, the need has never been greater. Sign up for the Holiday Hamper Program today at holidayhamper.ca.
On December 2nd, imagine a chic carnival party, a masquerade ball with Mardi Gras flair, dancing to enticing music, watching some of the best dancers in the country. You can experience it all and so much more at Festiva, a premier one-of-a-kind Latin and ballroom event. Fun is
Guaranteed.
Entertainment is
Generous.
Right here in Edmonton. Reserve your spot at festivadance.com.
Portions of this hour brought
Gambling website.
546. Welcome back. Gregor Show on Sports 1440. You can always text in 833-401-1440 in our Jiffy Lube inbox. And I'm excited. Tomorrow, our guest in studio for Who Is It Wednesday? Oof, this is going to be a very good interview. I am well-spoken guest and somebody that I think the audience, are going to be rather intrigued by. Will you be able to guess, though, who it is? I'll give you some tips tomorrow in the 2 o'clock hour. But I really enjoy the format for an hour with the guest in studio, face-to-face, as often as we can. Sometimes we might have to dip into doing it online, which is fine. I can still see them. You can hear them. But well, I guess you can see them, too, if you're watching on Owners Nation YouTube with us, which is great. But tomorrow's guest is there's going to be some really interesting discussions that we go down. So lots of celebrations, but also I think a few topics that are definitely worth talking about that I think will interest people and grab your attention. So look forward to that on the show. Connor's looking at me now, all intrigued about it. What's good about Who Is It Wednesday? Sometimes the con man doesn't even know who it is.
No, and then that's why I like the hints, and I try to guess along too. Sometimes I try to see what the listeners are guessing as well. The YouTube chat always has a good time, Gregor, trying to figure out who's coming up. So I'm looking forward to this one.
Greg's, damn, you got Woodcroft already from Jordan? I'll give you a hint. No, it's not Jay Wood. Hey, I would love to have Jay Woodcroft on the show. Right? I got along with Jay very well. I think he's a good coach. I think he will have his choice of other places this offseason. And you know what? I'm sure he, you got to be frustrated. There's no question about it, right? But like anything, you know what? He has his two daughters, of course, his loving wife, and you know what? He'll be fine. And I do think it'd be sooner than later that he's back in the NHL. But make no mistake, it's tough, man. He's got. His daughter's, I think, the same age as my son. I think they're 10. And, when your dad's a head coach in the Canadian market, most of the kids in your class know who your dad is. And then all of a sudden, you probably got to answer all the questions. Like, well, what happened? Right? Like, because kids don't really, but they're 10. They're kind of like, hey, what happened? So, I always try to remind people that, hey, remember they have families. Be careful what you say in your house about a player or coach, especially when your child's at their school. Because then the kid goes to school and says something, and you're kind of like, wonder where they heard that from. So always be a little leery of that. Just you got to be leery of that anyway, right? Like any parent out there can tell you got to be cautious about some of the things that you say around your kids, because hey, kids are sponges and they hear lots and then they suddenly repeat it for sure. Cons, I do want to get your thoughts. The Grey Cup is coming up this week. What, like, are you expecting a blowout? What do you think about, like, can the Alouettes, like, they spanked Toronto. Now 4 interceptions and like, it's not like the offense of Montreal was great. Their defense was great. And like Zach Collaros throwing 4 picks would seem unlikely. So what do you make of this Grey Cup matchup? Are you intrigued by it, or are you kind of like, foregone conclusion, Bombers are winning?
I mean, I don't think you can just say foregone conclusion, right? I know that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, the key to their success, in my opinion, is through the run game with Brady Oliveira. I mean, he went over for 100 yards in the Western Conference Final against the BC Lions. So I think for them, it's not making mistakes and not letting a Montreal defense who was opportunistic last week have that sort of opportunity to do so. I think the run game will step the pass game. That's not exactly groundbreaking information. It's kind of how it goes in football. So I look for them to try to run the ball. Olivier, I mean, we've seen him a couple times against the Elks. If you just watch those games, the guy's a load to bring down. He's a big man. He can move the ball downfield. And I think that offensive line kind of embraces it. So I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means. I think Montreal, has gone through some things this year. They moved some players out, but I think they're in a really good place playing some of their best football this season. So I think it's going to be a little bit closer than, people might think. It's going to be a good one. And, I haven't got a chance to look at it too much, Gregor. But I wonder the field conditions out at Tim Hortons Field. What's it going to be like in Hamilton? How are the conditions going to be? I think that could play a role in it as well.
Yeah. Well, field conditions obviously are a factor. I will say, how many of you out there are going to Hamilton for Grey Cup week? We know that Daryl's going. Send us the picture, the walking Grey Cup. That's dedication. Daryl's a beauty. So we know he's going. You got to think, like, there's lots of people that go to the Grey Cup every year. It's a tradition. And it's fun. Like, I'm honestly, I like the Grey Cup, not so much the game, but the few days leading up to it, man. Like, the Spirit of Edmonton room is one of the greatest fun nights you will have. You don't even have to be a football fan. Doesn't matter. Like, everybody's friendly there. Right? I told the story. I took some of my friends, not real football fans, husbands and wives, and they were stunned at just like, oh, everybody's so happy and friendly here. And hey, how are you? And they just, just talk to people, and it's great. It is an awesome time. So the Spirit of Edmonton room, Jerry and the fellas, and they run it. It's fantastic. So if you're going to Hamilton, make sure you go. Like, if you don't go, I question, like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah, you got to get there kind of like towards the end of the week, right? You don't want to be rolling in Saturday. You got to
you got to be.
Festival.
Spirit of Edmonton room opens Thursday. You want to be there Thursday. You want to have some fun there for a few nights. Heck, I would almost recommend you fly in on Thursday morning. You fly out Sunday morning. You're back home watching the game comfortably, right? 3 days of having fun, and you're just like, oh, this is amazing. Now I'm home. You don't even have to go to the game if you don't want to. The game's kind of nice, but honestly, I think the festivities, the parade, you're going around, you're meeting people. I would recommend almost that more, to be honest. So I think it's fantastic. So there you go. Hey guys, can you explain to me why Lavoie doesn't have waivers? It was because he was loaned to the Condors? No. So here's what happened. So he cleared waivers back on October 10th, I think it was, right? So then he goes to the minors. When he's recalled, he has to be on an NHL roster for 30 days before he requires waivers again. Right. So the Oilers recalled him. That's why they were able to send him down today on a paper. They sent him down, no waivers. Right. I assume they'll recall him tomorrow. But he wasn't on the NHL roster for 30 days I used to think it was 30 days from the time he was sent down. No, it's 30 days. Once you're recalled, then it starts. That's day one. Then it's 30 days. So that's why they were able to send Lavoie down. Doesn't require waivers. So there you go. I used to think it was 30 days from the time he sent down. It's 30 days on an NHL roster. They got lots of time if they want to send guys up or down. On behalf of Connor Halley, Shan Brown, and all of our guests, if you missed any of them, go to jasongregor.com. The individual interviews are there. Or anywhere you get your podcasts, we'll have it all. Have yourselves a wonderful Tuesday evening. Fox Sports is coming up 9 o'clock tonight. Enjoy the games. Let's get to the comment. Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home to no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. Stay warm all winter. LegacyHeating.ca. 3 days left to help your neighbor. Next chance tomorrow. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Police in England say they've placed a man in custody this week with connection to the death of ex-NHL player Adam Johnson. According to South Yorkshire Police, the man was arrested on suspicion of manslaughter on Tuesday, 17 days after Johnson tragically died from injuries he suffered when Matt Petgrave's skate slashed him in the neck during an elite ice hockey league game. In announcing the arrest, authorities did not say if Petgrave was the man they had in custody. In the NHL, the Edmonton Oilers lending forward Raphael Lavoie to the Bakersfield Condors in 5 games with the Oil. He went pointless, averaging just under 8 minutes per game. Oilers forward Leon Draisaitl also fined $5,000 today for a dangerous trip on New York Islanders forward Bo Horvat. Draisaitl received a 2-minute minor for the trip and the Oilers' 4-1 victory over the Islanders Monday night. On the ice right now, Bruins beating up on the Sabres 3-0 after 20 minutes. Tage Thompson left this one with an apparent leg injury. The Flames Canadians currently scoreless. Capitals up on the Golden Knights. Dylan Strome with his 7th goal of the season has it up 1-0. And the Penguins trail the Blue Jackets 2-1. Later tonight, Blues take on the Lightning. The Ducks in Nashville. Stars will host the Coyotes. Devils take on the Jets. And it's the Sharks up against the Panthers in the Association NBA in-season tournament. Hornets lead the Heat 44-40 in the second. The Pistons up on the Hawks 53-52. 76ers trail the Pacers 48-45. And the Thunder have a 28-25 lead over the Spurs in the first. Later tonight, Pelicans host the Mavs. The Jazz take on the Trailblazers. Clippers in Denver. Warriors host the Timberwolves. And the Grizzlies take on the Lakers. And 2 games in the AJ tonight. Drayton Valley hosting Olds. And Calgary takes on Okotoks. Both those games will start at 7. That'll do it for us. Fox Sports Radio coming up at 9 o'clock. And then Carius and Douglas back tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440